skills in the gaming. 1xBet.
Semua bisa jadi nyata dengan upgrade wifi rumahmu pakai Biznet Home.
Nah, ini baru internet rumah buat orang-orang terdepan. Mimpi kecil bisa jadi besar. Dan kamu juga bisa mendunia. Jadi, siap wujudkan semua jadi nyata?
Panas. Di oven nih. Hai. Ya kelar. Wih. Nah ini Sukroven si paling seru. Mau gini seru. Mau gitu seru woy. Mau lagi? Lagi. Terus aja lagi. Sukroven seru from the oven.
The world is your stage. Take the first step to change. Lead with vision and innovation. Perfect your strategy and make your goals reality.
Así que vaya.
Get in the game. Make it count.
Welcome everybody to the Bali Major. Why do you always smile before I even begin
I was
speaking?
trying not. It's just how you look, man. You just.
What? What's wrong with how I look?
I don't know.
I got a haircut recently. Yesterday, in fact. Finally.
Looks good.
Because I was looking pretty disgusting at the Dream League tournament, I have to say.
It's just that no matter what, it looks like you're not ready, but you are ready. That's the weird thing.
I've been ready.
You just look perpetually unprepared for whatever life throws at you.
You know, when you wing it all the time, then you become very good at winging it all the time, and then you are prepared, regardless of how you look, Jenkins. I mean, speak for yourself. Wait, you have washed your hair again, it looks like, so that's good. Looking on my fourth monitor to make sure that you're still
right. Monitor number 7.
So
the third one.
I'm still waiting for you to join my party so we can get into this lobby.
I'm in the lobby.
Oh, okay.
I'm in here.
I wanted you to actually join the party so we can have an easier time joining, but you know, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. So, yeah, Bali Major, we got a couple of interesting matches. We've been casting a lot of Tundra, I have to say. I don't know if that's on purpose or if it just happened to go that way, but you know, I can't complain. Tundra very, very good right now. They're top 3 at the moment at 7-3. And they'll be playing against Execration, who are right now bottom of the barrel in Group A. And that seems to be the case for this team once they make it to the major. But before we get to that, we can talk about the tournament format as always to get everybody nice and refreshed. Why don't you take it this time, Jenkins?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the fairly typical format for Dota majors. We got 18 teams. 2 groups of 9. 3 teams are going to be going home at the end of groups from each group. So that is 6 teams total. 2 teams in each group are going to end up going through the lower bracket and starting there. 4 teams in each group will be going to the upper bracket, and that is going to be the 12-team playoff. And then when, a couple of teams get eliminated, we have 8 teams left. We are going to the Ayana Estate. Ladies and gentlemen, this beautiful, serene place that you can see on your screen here. This is what the players are playing for. Of course, there's the money and there's the DPC points, which we're about to see on the next screen. But really, all of these Dota players, they've been grinding. There's been Dream Leagues. There's been majors. They've been going nonstop. They want a vacation in that Ayana Estate, Suns fan.
That's right, but they have to fight for it. It's like Hunger Games, except you're a goddamn nerd playing video games behind a computer screen. But you get handsomely rewarded. 200k for first place, a lot of DPC points to go around. It's funny that the DPC points, it's only a 50-point discrepancy between each placement. That's a little odd.
That is a little odd.
As usual, the prize pool very top heavy. That's just the Dota way. People at the bottom get screwed, but that's par for the course. Everybody's just copying the way TI works, where... Well, actually, that's not true. Last place actually gets paid, unlike at TI, I believe. So, yeah, we can see the current standings right now. Liquid, we were worried about them coming into this tournament because they looked atrocious at the Dream League Season 20. But they are in first place in Group A. We'll be covering Tundra, who are... I said third, but I guess it's kind of a tie to some degree with wins with Beast Coast right now. I don't know how they have... Oh, I see. So who has Tundra actually lost to? Let me go look that up real quick. So Tundra split a series with Spirit, with
IG, and Beast Coast.
Yeah, and then they 2-0'd Blacklist, which we cast, and they 2-0'd Shopify, who have looked
we
pretty
also
bad.
cast. Yeah.
Yeah,
dude, I can't believe Beast Coast is 1-5-0, so they have 5 ties. That is pretty cool. I like to see that. I love these teams that can take a game off of anyone, and I feel like that is absolutely in the Beast Coast spirit. Like, this team just is known for dragging other teams down into the chaos with them, and I know people say that about both of the South American teams, but I honestly don't think that's been true for EG for a very long time. I think EG is actually like a really structured South American team when they play against other regions. EG is just like good. When they play against Beast Coast, that's a different story. It's chaos. But Beast Coast like drags everybody down with them, which I love. I'm so glad they're second place. They're so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, South America in general, they've come a long way since the days of being the quote-unquote worst region. Now it's definitely NA, as Shopify is showing here at this tournament. First match, as we talked about, will be Tundra versus Execration, so kind of top versus bottom, although it's second versus last technically. And then the second match should be a lot more interesting in Group B, PSG LGD versus 9 Pandas, both of which are tied at 5-5. So, and we've been talking up PSG LGD, 9 Pandas also looking really good at Dream League. And then when they got to the second group stage, they basically lost every game, just about. But good to see them bouncing back against the rest of the competition. But I have to say, Quest in first place at 9-1, and this is Amar's team, right? I haven't gotten to see them play at this tournament yet, but they're really showing out here. Does that surprise you at all?
I mean, I'm gonna say no to that, but
9-1. Come on,
dude. Listen, dude. This team is good. Like, even when they stood in for Liquid at Dream League, Blitz tweeted, like, basically that Liquid stood in for Quest, so showing them respect. I mean, I've just been enjoying Amar's gameplay a lot, personally. I think he's super innovative, way more innovative than even like LGD. I'm going to say it. The guy's been playing Slark offlane, which I've been fiending as well. I love this build and this playstyle for Slark, and anti-mage offlane. It is so damn cool. This guy qualified for the major playing Slark offlane. Like, it should be griefing, but it's not. So I'm glad to see Amar back on his feet. I think he's an interesting character. He's fun to watch. Just, I don't know, just a crazy guy.
Why do you think I mean, it felt like with OG, a lot of his heroes got nerfed, and then they just didn't perform as well. He got kicked. Then he went to Enigma Galaxy, and it never worked out. I don't know what. You think that the lineup needs to be catered to him in some ways for him to be able to... Well, we've been seeing like 33. We've been seeing all the offlanes, really. I feel like this is an offlane meta right now. Heroes are getting a lot of farm. They're kind of just being the carries in some respect.
It's true. And it's no surprise that Amar had a few weak patches, and now he's back when everybody's catering to the offlane. No, I mean, I think you're right. I think Amar's the type of guy that needs a very specific type of team to make him work. I think he's worth making him work, but I think it's probably very stressful for teams, like even outside of his personality, which I know that personality-wise, he's a very crazy character. I recall Seb telling me that Amar was refusing to sleep. He was sleeping for only 4 hours every night because sleep is a waste of time in his eyes, and he'd rather be like studying drafts for the next day. And he was dead serious, completely serious about it, and steadfast, calling Seb, you know, an old hag, and to stop, you know, talking to him, old man, you're cringe, etc. So I know he's a little difficult to work with and probably difficult to play with just because his playstyle is very strange. But, you know, obviously it's worth it, given how they performed in DPC.
Imagine calling a two-time TI winner that is technically your boss in some ways. An old hag.
He did it, man. I mean, it's just some more things, dude. I don't know.
That is good stuff. So with the team that we'll be casting, it'll be Tundra that we've cast literally every day so far. Soxa didn't look too good in this picture, and he went back home as a result. Wasn't happy with that. So he is getting replaced for the rest of the term, as far as we know, by AUI, but they haven't really missed a beat. AUI has only picked 2 heroes so far, and that's Skyrath and Pugna, but they haven't really lost many games, so can't really complain too much with what Curtis is bringing to the table.
Yeah, I mean, that is because Aoi has only played 2 games, so that's why he's only played 2 heroes. So
Wait,
that does make a lot of sense.
Wasn't he... Wait, we cast first day. I thought... Wait, did it actually happen yesterday?
Yeah, that was yesterday.
Okay.
It was against Blacklist.
I mean, technically I wasn't incorrect. He's only played 2 heroes.
He's got a small hero pool, dude. They've got to work on it. You know, he's no Soxa. But we'll see if they can make it work today.
Yeah, they'll be fine, I'm sure. And then with Execration, on the other hand, not doing super well. They are 3-7, as we discussed. I'm going to see which teams they've actually taken a game off of. Shopify, so no big surprise there. Blacklist, who we cast yesterday, and they actually did take a game off of Beast Coast, but like you said, Beast Coast, big fans of splitting series, and then they got 2-0'd by both IG and Liquid. So it doesn't get any easier against Tundra, but Execration going to have to start picking it up, or they're going to be one of the teams that gets eliminated in the group stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for them because they have taken a game in 3 out of their 5 series, so it's not like this is a bad team that's at the bottom of the group. Like sometimes you'll see a team at the bottom of the group that's just clearly the weakest, and they've lost everything. But this team is actually very capable of taking games off of other teams. I remember back in the Lima Major casting Execration. They are not so great at laning, but they will come back in the late game, and they will pull some like pretty crazy comebacks. So they're very fun to watch, but I do worry that maybe that this is not a good patch for that. Tino played Meepo off lane the other day, which is just insanity. So I love this team. I love their spirit, but this is a very difficult patch to win in these whimsical ways where you have these crazy, funny comebacks in the late game. Like, it doesn't really happen that much.
So a team that's a bit weak in the laning stage against arguably the best laning stage team in Tundra. They put everything into the laning stage, and they're really good at holding leads and expanding their leads. So this is a very tough matchup for sure. And a little bit off topic, but you were mentioning like Execration. It's not like they're bottoming out completely. They're 3-7. Yep. They have won some games, and they can still come back. I did not see EG's record. 1-11. My goodness. This is the other group, but they're the team that is bottoming out. That's shocking. And we did see them kind of flop in the second group stage, I believe, at Dream League. So they did really well initially, and then did not do so well in the latter portion of the tournament. But this is a very big surprise for me.
Same. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. I mean, I heard that Matthew was maybe feeling a little under the weather. That definitely has a pretty significant impact when, that's your captain right there. But 1-11, I mean, people talk about Whisper like he's the best offlaner on the planet. Like, a lot of people really respect this guy. And Pekka's similar. Like, a lot of people have a shit ton of respect for these players individually. So you'd think that would be enough to carry them against, Azure or Nouns, these teams that people would generally consider to be on like the weaker side. They did 1-1 LGD, which is one of the stronger teams of the tournament. Or at least after Dream League Season 20. But yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on with this team. There's got to be like internal issues or something going on that they need to get sorted. Because they're almost guaranteed eliminated now, I think.
Yeah, let's see. If they have 2 matches left, so if they go 2-0 in both, they end up with 5-11 scoreline, which basically means every team needs to lose every game that's on the bottom portion of that group right now for them to have a chance. If they lose one more game, then it's going to be almost impossible. But there is some time, technically, today, and maybe some games tomorrow. Maybe. As we're going to be getting in the draft here pretty shortly. So Tundra versus Execration. Execration, like we talked about, are in dire need of a victory. And, I mean, I will say this. They've had a day to scout Tundra, who are playing with AUI. So they have at least some idea as to what the plan is with that substitution, because we weren't sure if AUI would be playing Sox's position or the 5, and it will be the 5. At least yesterday it was, which means Snake King moves from 5 to 4.
Yep, that's true. There's not as much question marks there for Execration. And, also, if you watch Tundra, it is pretty clear how they play. The question is, like, can you deal with it? But, they stack a lot for 33, and 33 is kind of playing like a carry. Kind of like people played last year, like you mentioned, when Amar the Fucker was on OG and just absolutely dominating. That is kind of what the meta has reverted back to, maybe with some aura items instead of, like the BKB rush and stuff. So maybe we'll see some heroes that are really good at like contesting stacks on Execration.
Yeah, 33 has been just dominating every game we've watched. So we shall see indeed. Morphling out, thank Gaben. Enchantress out, Undying, and Timber out, which means Pugna is taken by Execration, which means, you know, Curtis only has 2 heroes he can play, Jenkins. So Sky.
Yeah, that's gonna be Skywrath Mage coming out here. I could actually see Silencer as well as just anticipating Pugna plus a Spirit. But then again, if Tundra did Silencer, then maybe Execration just responds with the Medusa.
All right, Techies first, so that'll be the Snake King special. And they've been first twoing tied every time. I'm just expecting it.
I feel like it's Techies tied. If there's a Techies, I mean, we've seen the Techies tied lane beat some really difficult matchups.
Yep. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think the one thing that Tundra gets some flack about, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think their playstyle is looked upon as a bit boring because it's very methodical in nature and they're extremely disciplined. And I can understand that because there's less fighting and whatnot, but I think there's certain plays that happen in the game. It's just such high-level Dota that in itself just makes up for the rest of the lack of action.
I'm not going to try to justify boring Dota. I like seeing team fights that are just chaos, dude. I want to see the Pudge picks, you know, but no, I mean, I respect it.
Pudge pick is, that makes the whole game entertaining.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. It's a, you know, strategic, you know, beautiful mind sort of stuff. They're playing chess. Everybody else is playing checkers. I respect it. It's a way to win. But, you know, I do prefer the Beast Coast style where it's just like they, you know, expect to... Enemy team comes in expecting to play chess, and they're just like playing basketball. You know, it's very strange.
Nothing strange about basketball, of course, especially during the free agents period that we're seeing right now, Jenkins. A lot of teams.
What I do like about Tundra, though, getting off of this, of course, basketball thing, is I love that Tundra is buffing their offlaner and letting him get Giga Fat because that's cool. I like big tanky boys. I know that's something you and I share in common is the love for the big tanky beefy boys and being unkillable.
I think you need to gain some weight to actually get into that club. I think you're on the outside looking in right now, my friend. You got to get
just
some
looks
so
juicy and thick in there. You know, I really do want in. I need to be invited into the guild formally, though.
Yeah, that way when you go inside saunas, you get physically ill. You're so obese.
That's not why I was physically ill in a sauna, dude.
Anyway, that's another story entirely. So we didn't mention the Storm the Execration picked, but not a huge surprise because it is the Pugna battery, the gas station, or the butler, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
So they do have a very good combo. And I mean, that's the thing about Storm that just makes them so powerful. When you don't have to worry about mana all too much, like then you can make these risky moves and usually be okay. And that's the thing that like high level Storm, like before they made that Pugna change, it's like if you make this a little risky play and you run out of mana, you're just dead every time. And now you have like this safety net.
Yeah, it is nice. And I mean, even if you go in, use all of your mana, and you're doing the thing where Storm is just like pathetically waddling away and dying, Pugna can actually save him when he does that. So not only is it like a mana battery, you can also let him like use literally all of his resources and still be able to get out. As of course, Execration bans Owie's only other hero. He's done, man. I don't know.
They banned the Silencer as well, and then they got rid of Medusa because they just don't want to deal with that garbage, understandably so.
Yeah, reasonable.
But okay, time to pick a new hero, Curtis.
What is it?
We did mention this yesterday. If people that didn't watch, we obviously know AUI pretty well, and he plays everything, literally everything, every role. Like I'm not super worried about him having a limited hero pool at all. I mean, he could theoretically also just play the 4 if they really wanted as well with techies.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that. Let's see. All right. How well do I know Curtis? I'm gonna say Mirana. Okay, just kidding. All right,
It'll
so
be a Snapfire.
Less of Owie's personal flair there, I would say, because he really loves these drums buyers.
It could be a flex though, right? I've seen 9 play this and destroy with it mid.
Yeah, it could be.
10 seconds remaining.
It also could be Owie on the techies, and then Snake King could play the snap because Snake has played a decent amount of snap. And Also, Snap Tide is a very strong lane. I mean, Snap or Tide Techies is as well, but usually the Snap is played with Tide because of the double minus armor. And so that would mean it's Snaking playing Snap and Owie playing Techies. Not that it really matters. As the Doom comes out
Doom,
for Execration.
The classic counter to Tide. Kraken Shell doesn't do anything against that. Hasn't worked against 33 yet, though. But, I mean, a lot of it has to do with Tundra just having the lead in these scenarios, so we'll see if they're able to get out to a better start. But we're going to take Rubik as well, so another old school counter to Tide, kind of. It's not really a hard counter by any means, but there's a lot of good spells, though. I mean, any Snapfire spell is going to be good. Techies, the mines you talked about the other day, you get to keep them after stealing another spell, so pretty solid pick.
Yeah. I will say stealing the Ravage is not what it used to be. It used to be like, oh, Rubik got Ravage. Rubik is going to win the fight. Huge Ravage, Dendy, the play sort of vibes. Not really anymore. It's actually just better at like casually stealing a nuke or a stun or Techie's mines. And I also like the lift, the just instant interruption of the Techie's blast off. You can just spam it on him, and right before he jumps in, you stop him from blasting off.
All right, we're going to see a DK, which we've seen in multiple positions at this tournament so far.
Still waiting on Skeeter to play that. I want to see the carry DK.
Yeah. So likely will be the mid against the Storm Spirit, a decent matchup.
Yeah, probably.
So both teams probably looking for the position 1. So I'm going to look at what Execration has picked so far for Palos. The Morphlings banned. He's played PL, which is not banned, but I don't know how good it is this game. He does play Illusion Heroes, so the Naga Siren being the prime example.
Dire team ban.
They won with Abaddon. I actually don't mind Abaddon carry.
Oh, my favorite.
Against Tide, I feel like it's pretty good because you can just, press R when he ravages you. Like, you never really have to care about Ravage. You don't have to care about the DK stun either. And you can save your team from these things as well. But I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think Abaddon does like particularly well against Tide and lane. I mean, I'm sure it's a wash. Like, I'm sure both heroes will farm fine. But they could. Ursa, that's your favorite thing to always suggest. It does do very well against Tide. I think against DK in the late game too. You actually do enough damage to tear through his armor. But Ursa's just kind of a bad hero is the problem.
Yeah, and you're picking it blind into whatever their carry is going to be. And Ursa, very kiteable in general.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, other than Morphling, he has actually only played melee heroes at this tournament so far.
Yep. And
Melee and Joyer.
A lot of them don't do very well against Tidehunter. Wow, they actually banned the PL on Tundra just because that's what he's been playing a lot on Palos. Even though it would be very bad against Tidehunter. And generally in this game, I feel like PL doesn't like playing into Dragon Knight either. Like, eventually you just soul all his illusions. You do enough damage to them so you see what the real PL is. Just
it's going to be a
there.
Naga, perhaps.
It could be Naga. I mean,
fast-paced heroes.
You're going to give Tide free farm, though, if you pick a hero like this. That's the only issue, which means that whatever support is in Tide's lane could just roam and do whatever he wants.
True. But it feels like that's happening anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, it is just like one problem, but like, you've got to pick your poison in Dota. Like, there's always going to be you're never going to get like the absolute perfect last pick, or at least it's very rare.
And then for Tundra, because there's a minute and a half for Execration, go ahead.
I mean, I could also see Alchemist just to farm against the Tide. It's like, okay, you want the Tide to be left alone, then we're going to be left alone as well.
Oh, okay. The classic Terrorblade against a lot of stuns. That's pretty scary.
I will say, I'm not respecting the Terrorblade against DK matchup as much anymore. And I looked at Dota Buff, actually, just to see what the win rate disadvantage is. And it's gone down a lot, just based on like nerfs to TB, buffs to Dragon Knight, I guess, and differences in how people are playing DK. It used to be the literal worst matchup for DK was Terrorblade. Now it's like the 10th worst matchup. So it's not as bad anymore. And I would even wager that like with the Mjolnir build, with the Ags plus Manta build, that DKs don't really care that much about TB.
You may now select your heroes.
Tundra take the Naga instead. I mean, they are greedy mother effers, aren't they? They always feel safe going into the late game. They always feel like they will get to that point, like we talked about, kind of the methodical. Actually, honestly, the Naga is the perfect microcosm of Tundra as a team.
I agree.
Kind of slow-paced, just very solid, technically, like very mechanically skilled, and eventually you'll win the game. You know, if you get there.
Yep. I mean, to me, why I think Naga represents Tundra the best is that she is the best hero in Dota at never taking fair fights, because you can always song and walk away from a fight if it's bad. And you push all the creep waves in with illusions. So the enemy team is going to be constantly responding to your split push, meaning you can take like a 5v4 somewhere. And that's literally how Tundra won TI, was that they would never fight you 5-on-5 unless they had like a 20 or 30k gold lead, which was like a little boring, because the better teams are, the less likely they are to let you fight them when they're 4v5. So basically, you just have these stalemates where Tundra's farming because the enemy team never gives them an opportunity. But yeah, I think they're super comfortable on Naga. I think it fits their playstyle perfectly. And it has a very high win rate versus Terrorblade, just because it's one of the few heroes he actually cannot man up against in the late game. And it's very difficult to sunder the real Naga.
It is interesting with this big patch that came out, 7.33 in general. It's felt like it's a very brawly patch. But Tundra don't brawl that much still, and they're still very effective playing this methodical farming playstyle. Especially just consistently getting away with getting all this farm on 33, get him his stacks. I think Execration, that's got to be the number one thing they need to focus on, is try to disrupt 33 from getting just complete free farm this game.
I agree.
Have a decent chance.
I think Dota is in this very weird state right now where stacking is extremely powerful because there's multiple ancient camps and because you get 30% XP and 30% gold from it. So supports are really, it's promoted to stack these camps and farm them. But then on the flip side, kills are worth a ton. But then on the flip side, it's really hard to get kills on people because the map is so big. It's there's a lot of options in Dota right now. I could see how people are maybe overwhelmed playing on this patch for the first time.
AUI will be playing his third hero of the tournament now, the Snapfire.
Somebody stop me!
Just want to let everybody know that.
Yeah, very impressive from him. Nice hero pool increase, 150%. Very nice.
Good, clean stuff. He, or I should say, Tundra grouping up a bit to try to go for these bounties now. So 20 seconds till that occurs. Execration also grouping up. They don't have the best level 1 fight, though. I feel like Tundra have way better potential to take these early engagements. And I would assume that they know this. Snake King doesn't have Blast Off yet. They're just going to give it up, though. A little bit surprising. Holding on to that point, I guess, to see if he wants to take Sticky Bomb. As the runes are traded evenly. So Palace playing the Terrorblade in the top lane with Carlo on the Rubik, and they're going to be versus 33's Tide. And I think of the games that we've cast, he's played Tide in every game but one, I want to say. I feel like it was Doom the other time.
He was Doom in the other one, yeah. And he played it very similar, too. Just farmed stacks.
Somehow, yeah, a Doom taking stacks is not a normal occurrence, that's for sure. But mid lane, we've talked about this matchup before as well. Storm versus DK. DK just needs a couple levels of Dragon Blood, so level 3 essentially overall. To be able to withstand the pressure that Storm can apply. Don't see 9 dying in this lane at all.
No.
And should be able to get pretty good CS as well as top lane. They're going to kill Palos to start this game off. And 33 getting pressured by Carlo. Has the Gush available. Carlo, another right click is enough to get the trade eventually, but losing the Terrorblade is huge.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how he went down. I mean, I guess just really getting overly aggressive with the meta. You know, 9 armor against 2 heroes that just want to right-click you down, and minus armor. He felt strong. Snaking literally just using Blast Off to harass there. Very nice. On a hero that has very low HP, being the Terror Blade.
Yeah, Snaking's got to get the hell out of here now because 33 is only level 1. Get out of the lane, Snake King. 33 needs this. Did go Gush level 1 to get that kill, by the way, so still waiting on that Anchor Smash, which against Terrorblade, extremely effective, especially when he's in that melee form. Be able to reduce the attack damage for a hero that has such high base damage in general.
Don't let it vex you.
It's also the greedier build, like double nuke, you know, or I mean quad nuke if you're including the techies. It is so damn hard to lose lane on these 2 heroes. Even just using the Gush to let techies get some nice trades in is a really nice way to play the lane. I mean, I think that's how they killed the TB. It was literally just like 33 gushing off cooldown and techies right-clicking. As 33 splits the wave. So you will be denying an entire creep wave here.
On seeing how far they push in to try to make this DOTA uncomfy. You're not having too much fun for Fly and trying to trade with Mirror, but that is to be expected for the Disruptor. But again, Collapse is already really copping it from the Mystic Snake spam.
Yeah, I mean, Mystic Snake is back up now for Arteezy if he wants to throw it out, but does not end up bouncing onto Collapse. So he just wanted to do damage onto Mirror, make sure he's low on the Rubik to boot. It's burning through plenty of the region here from Team Spirit. And while we have a chance, we'll have a look at the other lanes. Of course, mid lane, Arbed and Lyle are going to be going at it on the Storm Timber. For now, it is favoring Lyle on the Storm. Arbed not having the worst time in the world, but Lyle certainly having a bit of a better time to get things started. Should be a pretty even matchup, I'd argue. Like, can't really imagine too much happening here. I highly doubt either side really dies.
Yeah, I don't see any overextensions coming out. Again, the Timber's Host still has some play against the Storm. Whirling Death can threaten onto the Storm Spirit. He has to run up fairly close for the Static Remnant. So you're not always free to just try to harass out the Timbersaw in this lane. And Abed should still be able to get his farm. Although Laurel is getting a pretty good pull off, but the range creep is taken away.
Oh, RP. Bottom lane goes down. Fly able to trade with Mirror. But they got the big kill in Arteezy. And Medusa, not too easy to take down, but they get through a HP and mana pool very, very quickly, apparently. So another kill here for Team Spirit down in the bottom lane.
And again, they're just racking up that pressure. In comparison, Yatoro up top in the Jug with Nepashka on the Lich. He's having a pretty stable time. Not too much Saberlight can really do on the Beastmaster, along with crit. Like, you can try to get aggressive. There's a lot of protecting here on the side of Team Spirit. I think the one thing you do have to watch out for is eventually, when you do have the skill point in the Gaze, you can interrupt crit when he tries to blast off. So the kill opportunities aren't the smoothest. Saberlight is still opting for the Axis build, as we tend to see on the Beastmasters nowadays. So no emphasis on the boards up against the Chug, but should still be able to find his stable farm. I'm wondering if he is opting for the Aura build-up, the Dominator, or something like the Ags. Doesn't feel necessary to go Ags. Maybe you could go for the Dominator and the Overlord. Feels pretty good to just get a push going here for Shopify Rebellion.
Back down into the bottom lane, like just the confidence from Team Spirit. Collapse and Mirror just creep skipping the whole time, not interested in having the actual laning matchup against the Medusa. Just doing a brilliant job as Collapse going to get glimpsed back by Fly, but he just doesn't care. He's got the Ring of Health up, he's got plenty of regen. Arteezy's trying to meet the creep wave and does at least get the range creep. That'll force Collapse to turn back around. So Arteezy going to be focused here as they're already burning through the mana again. Arteezy, he's trying to run. Mirror, he's got through the mana still. Mirror trying to fight back. Arteezy still running. Mirror might die, but Arteezy's going with him, it seems like. The Anchor Smash does land, and the Medusa is gone. Mirror, in the meantime, somehow alive. This Fly should eventually have his way with him, surely. Surely! Here comes the backup.
No.
Collapse. At least you'll get the glimpse on Mirror. But you've lost Arteezy again. This is a terrible start to the bottom lane.
Yeah, this is not how you expect that to go. And again, this draft of Shopify Rebellion, it needs a solid start, especially for your Dusa. Your core-to-core matchup for Dusa Jug is not straightforward for Dusa at all. And this kind of start for Artur does mean a slower build-up into his key timings. They might be able to find Collapse at the least, but he is still very durable here.
Yeah. A few one charges. Kinetic Field's going to be thrown out. Arteezy has Mystic Snake in one. Still not enough though. Collapse getting in the tree line, turning back onto Arteezy. In the meantime, Abed and Fly end up going down mid lane. And Crit even dies top lane. 3 heroes across the map going down for Shopify. 3 to 7 now. Team Spirit proving to just be so aggressive.
Collapse just baits in Fly into tower aggro. There was no creep wave to tank that, so Fly just dies. It's a mess right now. Shopify Rebellion. They're getting drawn into these engagements. It's not feeling good. Abed again just respawned. Has to be a bit cautious. The Ball Lightning is up here.
Comes back on Mira. Lal is there stuck in the kinetic field, but still gets the Invis rune. I just can't believe the way this game's gone so far. Just every single lane seems like it's got kills going the way of Team Spirit. Especially that bottom lane in particular has just been horrific for Shopify. I mean, Collapse already 2-0-2 on the Tide. That's how badly things have gone for Shopify. Like, you've had 4 kills down to this bot lane. At least now, we'll slow down quite a little bit, but it feels like the damage may have just been done.
Yeah. They're trying to go into Maposhka at least.
Yeah, they'll find the Lich. I think Maposhka did actually scout out the stacks that were being made by Crit, so I highly doubt we see Collapse rotating anytime soon to try and take those on the Tide, but they know they're there, so you never know. If he feels like he can, he probably will. Meanwhile, Mira takes the Wisdom Rune away from Fly. Sableye will find the other. It's Fly going for a TP attempt. Maposhka, he's got the gaze in time. Unlucky. Fly is gonna drop.
They're just dropping all over the place right now, Shopify Rebellion. They're trying to contest these objectives. They're not able to really outplay. You don't have much play potential there for a Disruptor. They're not finding anything. You know, Abed's off to a slow start, but still a little bit better than the rest of his team. Saberlight's not able to build up as fast as you'd want him to. Artur's going to have to AFK farm for at least 15 minutes here to get his initial itemization up. And that's going to give a lot of openings out for Team Spirit. Again, you're in a comfy spot for Yathora to just play a farming game into the Battle Fury, as they can make plays onto mid here.
Glimpse is there. Fly trying to help out by glimpsing back Maposhka. Does keep Crit alive. But a 3k advantage now to Team Spirit. Like, this is getting a bit worrisome now for Shopify Rebellion. Like, Yatora is going to have a really fast timing on his Battle Fury. You look at Arteezy's farm, he's actually the lowest of all of the cores on the map. And the thing is, like, once you give this Jug the Battle Fury, like, you give him that farming tool, and suddenly the Medusa is not exactly overtaken very easily. It's mid lane Abed. Oh, no. Again being focused, Lal's going to zip in. Glimpse is out onto at least Lal, so they'll lose the Storm for this. Abed getting gazed, but is going to survive as Crit will jump in with the blast off. Mira should go down, and eventually will. Maposhka unable to help keep him alive. Very close call onto Abed on the Timber, I might add, John. Abed is not feeling very safe in this mid lane.
No, he's not. Laurel, unfortunately, with the Glimpse, does not manage to really apply that damage that you'd want onto the Tim, but a lot of magic to come out here. Trying to TP bot, want to punish Collapse somehow.
They want to try. Stop him from just abusing this Meteor Hammer timing he's got on the Tide now. Collapse, though, he's a very tanky boy. Just with that level 2 Kraken Chill alone, it's not going to be that easy to take him out. Glimpse him back in the Chakra, but now a Ravage comes in. Collapse! Look at a fight back. He's found Abed. And he's still running. The Frost Shield keeps him alive. Collapse is not going to drop. Arteezy. Arteezy's the one in trouble. Arteezy's gone.
Oh my
Crit,
god.
he won't even get the blast off. Saberlight. Saberlight, run. It is not safe. 4 down for Shopify Rebellion. Team Spirit, they only lose the Rubik. What?
And that's just insanity. The Frost Shield keeping Collapse alive with a sliver of HP in that final part of the chase down. The Sinister Gaze from Eposhka to pull back that blast off from Crit. The stolen proximity mines coming in from Mira to provide more damage as well. Shopfire Rebellion, they're trying to jump the Tidehunter. They don't have damage for him, man. I mean, just with a Meteor Hammer alone, you talked about the points of this Tidehunter. You talked about Clairvoyance pointing this out, but Kraken Shell, just a ridiculous spell. And with just a little bit of regen on hand, you're just unshovable from a lane. Great Ravage, a great read from the side of Team Spirit to just collapse on top of collapse and punish Shopfire Rebellion. And that's so much free space for Yatoro. So you get all the kills, you have the freest jug in the world right now. You are getting some build up for Saberlight at the very least, who is hanging in there, keeping up ahead of the jug for the time being, but it doesn't feel like your Beastmaster matching the farm with Jug's really what you want with this lineup right now.
There certainly is not. Top lane, there's going to be big rotations coming in from Team Spirit. Smoke is there from Eposhka and Mira. They're going to run right into Saberlight. Zips forward from Lal. No messing around, though. A nice blast off and now a Static Storm to hold them in place. It will save Saberlight. The turn back around up to Lal, but Lal is still able to zip away. They had Roar up on Saberlight, but they never committed it. Eposhka, he would at least drop, so they get the Lich. Bit of a shame, though. They miss out on the Storm Spirit kill.
It's a big kill to miss out on.
Yatoro.
Find Yatoro, but he has on me.
No Roar committed either. They're just not confident in their damage output. There's a Roar committed now onto Lal. But it's all too late. It's just to allow them to escape from this fight.
They're not going to be able to do anything. Like, the glimpse back to Yatoro provides that opening for Lal to just zip in, buy some space out for Jug. Yatoro actually wanted to run forward and on. That's how confident he is. Like, this is not the target you want to glimpse. As long as he has the Blade Fury into Omni, he's happy.
Good lane. Arbit being jumped again by Lal, who's just so confident on the Storm. Already removing half the HP pool of Arbit. More TPs incoming from Shopify Rebellion to try and ensure this tier 1 mid does remain defended. There's going to be a glimpse back on Eposhka. He's got help around the corner though. Mira and Lal are still hanging around. Crit, thinking about the blast off, won't bother popping it. Probably would have been too hard to hit anyway. The Team Spirit, they're doing a great job of just running Shopify Rebellion across the map. That's what it kind of feels like. Like from the top lane to the mid lane. You know, they're just constantly running. Trying to chase down Spirit and try to keep their towers defended. At least Arteezy is free farming now on the Medusa. But he's still very far behind when you consider Yatoro has a Battle Fury now. And is top of the net worth board on the Jug. Very scary times already for Shopify.
This does not improve for Shopify with this kind of start. The Jug will just constantly stay in control of form. We'll be ahead now with that faster Battle Fury timing. We're going to hit that Sanjin Yasha timing with the Diffusal. Omni Snatch is going to be a massive threat in the middle of these fights with no real counterplay from Shopify Rebellion. They'll try for a smoke out now. And they've got damage. If they can connect all their spells, they can get some punishment off.
For Yatoro, he's going to be the target they look for. They can't quite see him with that Observer Ward vision, but they'll move their way up, and now they'll have the vision they required. Yatoro just going to go for the spin and walk away. It seems like they won't bother trying to chase for a glimpse back. Yatoro's going to be just fine. Even picks up a Wisdom Room while he's at it. Mid lane, I mean, Arbit's still being chased down. His top lane, Collapse now fighting with 3 heroes. Pops the Ravage, not able to find Crit yet. The disarm was there, so they will rotate 5 heroes in to ensure Collapse will die. And even then it takes a marathon to get it done. But eventually they will kill him.
It's a good kill to find Collapse. He tries to run in for the Wisdom Rune, doesn't quite find it. Is punished as well. I'm rather curious why they decide to make this play onto Collapse, whereas in their gank they could have just started with Static Storm into Kinetic Field, followed through with Blast Off, or just Static Storm, charge up the Blast Off, get that control, find that kill onto the bigger target, which is Yatoro. So killing Collapse is still good. Still a good chunk of network coming back your way for Shopify Rebellion to try to even out this match. It just feels like you had the same opportunity to do that to the Jug instead. Like, at this point, the Tide, with the mech up and the Meteor Hammer, it doesn't feel like he needs that much more outside of Guardian Greaves. Like, you have to reword more about Yatoro.
Oh, Omni. It's going to bounce through the creep wave. Whoopsie daisies. Quick thinking from Crit to move up north and try to hope for the RNG as Yatoro just going to spin away. Spin TP out, no messing about. Yeah, I mean, you missed out on the kill opportunity, but what the hell does he care? He's still top of the net worth board on the Juggernaut. Still having a great old time. And Shopify Rebellion, they're the ones that need to really start creating more and more space here to catch their way up, as they are going to go for a 3-man spoke now, it seems. Towards the west of the map, Shopify go. Spirit, they are looking mid lane for Saberlight. Zip forward, Saberlight already caught. Not bursted, but no, there you go. The Chain Frost will have it done. Shopify maybe trying to bait with Saberlight, but it does not work out in their favor as he just drops way too quickly.
And he does. Saberlight's going for the old Dominator Overlord build. Doesn't quite have the Overlord yet, but that means you don't have Aurus. You don't have that much durability on the Beastmaster, unfortunately, especially up against this magic damage coming out from the side of Team Spirit. I'm wondering if he goes for the pipe next. It feels like you really need the pipe here. You need some of that magical barrier. You need a way to stop that first play coming out from Team Spirit when the jumps do come in. They'll find the top tier 2 for the trouble on Team Spirit's end off the back of that kill. Shopify Rebellion just not able to really fight back. They've got the Manta up on Artur at the very least. So he has some stats to play with. I'd say this is definitely not enough to sustain true, but it gives you a little bit more play at the least. And, you know, you're not going to get insta-gib now. You have some durability on hand. We'll see if he can keep up that farm scaling here on the Dusa, as, again, you're kind of still pulling ahead on Yatoro anyway.
Yeah, Yatoro currently on the run, though. Will spin away, so the glimpse not going to really matter. It's going to be fine to go back to the farm game. In Shopify, they will have a decent idea of where Yatoro is around, but I just think with this, unless you commit the roar immediately, you just can't catch him. He's a bit too challenging on this Shug to actually hold down. I think they're just more than happy buying RTZ time, who's now 3rd in net worth on the Medusa, so he has done a decent job of catching his way up. Spirit, on the other hand, they're just hanging around the bottom lane. Looks like they aren't too interested in trying to defend that top tier 1 tower. Just pressure the bottom tier 2 instead with Collapse, but even he's going to back away from that. There goes the tier 1 top. And Jumpify, they're trying something cheeky here, John. They're going to try for a Roshan play.
Yeah. Could be a quick one. The scan is there, though. Team Spirit manages to read it well.
Yeah, half HP is the Roshan play. Shopify, they're going to be careful. Spirit are getting rather close now. Roshan still dropping very, very low. It should go down in time, and it will, but it seems like Spirit's still thinking about the fight. They might still just go for this. Arteezy, he'll frontline for the team. Abed was the one to take the Aegis away on the Timber. Eventually, Spirit, they do just retreat. So it seems like they don't find the opening they were looking for. They'll leave it be for now. Back into the mid lane as a team. And suddenly Shopify Rebellion are the ones trying to chase them for a fight, it seems. But now they've split up. So Spirit might capitalize if they're not too cautious. But they are grouping up once again, so it doesn't seem like it's going to mean too much.
No. I have to say the decision to give Abed the Aegis is rather curious. Maposhka?
Yeah. Tries to walk away. Glimpse is there. Maposhka is actually still alive. Abed! Oh, he's going to reach for the chakra, but it's still not enough. Oh, that's so demoralizing. Like, Maposhka just pops Frost Shield and Pavis and walks away every time. They just can't kill him.
No. I mean, the lift back was nice, not enough to save from the Glimpse, but even the Glimpse wasn't enough to line up for that kill. They'll find a mid-tier 1 at the very least, but we are 20 minutes in. That has run its course. Still a decent objective for Shopify Rebellion to find. They're applying a lot of pressure with his Aegis, to be fair. I think they're playing around his timing quite nicely. It's just they're not finding the openings they necessarily want to take. though, in these wider fights just yet. Still have issues with Yatoro farming up like a madman. Oh.
Now, bottom lane, I thought maybe they'd think about trying to go for Arbit, but I suppose with the Aegis still up, they won't even bother trying. And Shopify doing a very good job, John, of keeping this game pretty even. Like, the net worth just needs to be on Arteezy anyway. You don't really care too much about the other cores. Just make sure the Medusa gets farmed up, and that's all you really need. Mid lane, Collapse and Arteezy currently having a look at each other. Glimpse is there onto the Tide. Static Storm to hold him down. Stone Gaze popped on top. Collapse is dropping rather low, and this time looks like he should drop, as they will commit the Roar as well. Just to make sure he finally dies. And it does open up the T2 mid tower for them.
Yep. You're seeing the damage output now from Abed really kick in. Once back again.
Getting a little bit too far forward, not respecting the glimpse back of Fly. Shopify, they should have this tier 2 mid tower freely. Spirit are not really around to defend, they're just kind of farming the map. So they'll let it go for free the way of Arteezy. Lal is hanging around the storm now by the mid tier 3 tower, but he doesn't have a team to play with. Interesting choices by Spirit.
I think it's fine. Like, maybe they could have grouped up around Collapse a little bit better, tried to play with a Ravage there with all the commitment coming out, but they are just working the map. They do have Yatoro finishing up the Fusel Blade, so the process in melting down Medusa is a lot simpler now. Going into the MKB, preempting that butterfly that Arteezy is trying to farm up. Inside of Spirit, they still have a pretty good advantage. You are starting to sacrifice Laurel and Collapse's farm. Abed and Saberlight have managed to pull ahead now. Along with that Dusa, only Yatoro in the commanding lead. So a little bit of that stronger early start has faded away. The big difference still lies in your supports though. Mepashka and Mira are pretty well farmed for the pause 4 and 5s. With a Pavis and the full Solar Crest up on Mepashka. And with Mira having the Glimmer Cape and Aetherland. So you have some saves on hand. They just need to play together as a team for Team Spirit. Again, your scaling here is pretty good, but you don't want to tempt fate having to play the late game up against Adusa, Timbersaw, and even a Beastmaster can feel a little bit dicey with how they scale up. So you don't really want to take too many chances here on Team Spirit. We shall see. Shopify Rebellion kind of bouncing back into this game quite nicely. Take a look at the graph. It has equalized just a little bit. It's evened out at 68% for Team Spirit, not gaining any further advantage just yet. Shopify, again, are doing a great job of just stalling for the Dusa to become a massive threat. Full Butterfly up now on our tour. So the MKB now a necessity for Yatoro, and that one is still a ways off here.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. Mid lane. Mal's going to show up to defend. Shopify will move up to the top tier 2 tower. Net worth advantage now down to 4k for Spirit. Nothing really to write home about. There's a blink item, big item timing. The blink coming up from Collapse. Now available as the top tier 2 is going to drop. Mind you, Yatoro found the bottom tier 2 tower, so it's not the biggest deal. Question is, will he have that time to get the MKB up on the jug? Well, there's going to be a 5-on-5 smoke engagement, it looks like, as both teams are running right towards each other. Not many buybacks available on the map at the moment between these two, as Shopify unknowingly right behind Yatoro at the moment. That's the big one they'd love to secure. Yatoro not hitting the creep wave. Will break his smoke on Abed now. Spin is immediate. Gets a haste rune on top of that. So Glimpse back is going to be kind of hard for Fly to get. And ultimately these smokes have not really ended up in a fight.
No. Just a bit of a repositioning play. That should allow the side of Shopify Rebellion to get a push in the bot tier 1, but the mid tier 2 now under threat from Yatoro. And can just comfortably push. I do have to say I appreciate the wards coming out here from the side of Shopify Rebellion. They've got some good vision to reach across the map. A good line to play with and just kind of try to catch out Team Spirit. They will trade towers, tier 1 for tier 2. Not the best for the side of Shopify Rebellion, but they can take out that last tier 2 standing here as well. Although Yatoro is just starting high ground as a jug.
I mean, why not? T3 took a bit of damage, nothing too big of a deal here as Team Spirit, they can back their way out again. They'll TP up towards the top lane and start defending the top tier 3 tower. Sableye just had his Ancient Black Dragon hanging about that area, but he'll end up just taking another creep instead. Will deny away the gold that they wanted. Bottom tier 2 is the focus right now of Shopify. Rotations are incoming from Spirit to try and defend. I mean, just the Frost Shield alone is going to buy so much time here from Aposhka. Shopify still very hesitant. Wait for the creep wave to move in again. Spirit now grouped up completely, seeing the Medusa. But an immediate retreat here from Shopify and an immediate smoke out. Keep in mind, you do have the blink up on Collapse, so that Ravage could be very detrimental for Shopify. If they do get caught with their pants down, though, mid lane, Yatoro gonna get caught for a moment, but it's not perfect. The kinetic field did not hold him in place. And so Team Spirit, they will get away with their Jug carry. He'll have more time to farm the MKB up. And Shopify, they are forced to retreat once again.
And that's not a good time for Shopify Rebellion. They saw the Jug farm jungle with their forward ward right below the high ground, but their smoke doesn't reach in time. Spins on point. From Yatoro, you needed more through the lineup with a Static Storm. You might have needed a Roar there from Saberlight, and just they don't manage to get it out. Now Team Spirit, they can look for the kill. You know, at least the Static Storm's down. The retreat is there from Shopify though, so Team Spirit don't get that opening they're looking for. But it's starting to get a little bit awkward. The game has equalized for Shopify Rebellion. They're doing a great job again of just reeling in some map control, dodging out some rough engagements, but when it comes down to them starting fights, it's a little bit touch and go. It's a little bit hit or miss here for Shopify Rebellion as to whether or not they can find these openings. Now, if Saberlight can get the Roar and they can set up for a bigger Static Storm kinetic field, then things can start to feel like Shopify Rebellion can actually find the fights and go into the high ground. But if it goes that way, where you're committing your spells one by one, piecemeal fashion,
Mid lane.
Yatoro doesn't care.
Get caught here on the techies. So pop the Chain Frost. Arteezy gonna move in. Lol, he's out of mana. Lol, I don't know if it was worth it. Though he is lifted up and saved by Mira. So he will get away with the crit kill. Shopify unable to punish him. Real shame as well, because he should have had no good way out of that. But just one lift up from Mira gets the job done. There wasn't much lockdown from Shopify. So he moves in again. Here comes Arbed. Mira lifts his way out again, but the glimpse is there. This time they will at least catch themselves a Ruby.
Yeah. Nice kill to find. Tips out from Crit. Inside of Shopify Rebellion again, finding some pretty significant openings. I think inside of Team Spirit, they had to expend a BKB charge on Laurel, so down to 8 seconds here. They have gotten a lot of space out for their Jug. Again, the farm up has been coming up quite nicely for Yatoro. He does have his full itemization up. That is the MKB done now in the Jug. So the Deduce are really not an issue anymore. And this is where things can get rather interesting with the back and forths. No Swift Slash for Yatoro just yet, which is one of the big difference makers in that matchup. So you don't have that second invulnerability state. And Shopify Rebellion, they still have Roche control. And they have all the vision in the world to come out. Good wards. You've got the Hawks to play with. Not too much to be worried about going into the Roche.
Now Roshan going to go down for free here for Shopify. Team Spirit not in a position to defend. They are moving their way up, so they could still force a fight after this Roshan, but it's probably not really worth their time. Aegis again given to Arbed. Cheese will be given to Arteezy. Team Spirit have hung around a little bit longer than expected. Perhaps they are looking for a surprise initiation. They're going to see Arbed. They'll see Arteezy. Lal's going to jump in. Does not find himself a target yet as Lal forced to zip away. Yatoro, he'll spin through this team fight. Clap still waiting for that proper Ravage initiation and now finds it. He's got 4 targets with that. But where's the follow-up damage? It's not coming out. Yatoro's the one in danger. Yatoro's gone. Collapse trying to at least chase down Fly. Will not be able to get him. Will lose his own life. Oh boy, John, they've got no buybacks on Spirit.
Yeah, it's messy. from the side of Team Spirit. Shopify Rebellion, they found the angle in. There was hesitation on Laurel to try to zip forward. He was trying to play tag with Abed. With that big kill, it's a massive commitment that they finally nail a combination with a Static Storm and Aurora.
They'll find another. Poshka gonna try and run with the Glimmer Cape usage, but it's not enough. Lau at least trying to get fly, but barely misses out as Lau's out of mana. Oh, he'll get a bit now. The stick charge is coming in clutch here for Lau. Still trying onto Abed. Abed about to drop, will go down. That's the Aegis down, but Lau still able to get back towards the fountain. He's okay. Really playing on the edges of the storm. Collapse. Will jump in. Tendrils of the deep are there, but ultimately will not be able to lock anyone down long enough. Spirit chasing, trying to find stragglers. Shopify though sticking as a unit. Team Spirit still on the chase. Shopify still on the run. Collapse. Again, jump in. Abed, he's the big target. Shopify will turn for this one. Abed still able to turn back away and chain away as Lal is the big one in danger. Now the roar comes out. Yatoro, he gets silenced again. Oh, tips out from Saberlight. Yatoro not having the ending he really wanted. This is not it from Team Spirit.
No.
So Poshka now being chased down on the lich. Mirror will buy back. But without your buyback available on the jug, it's just so tough to defend.
This is a mess. Team Spirit felt like they should have had the matchups, but Yatoro is just forced to run up. He's just trying to run into the Dusa to get the Omni Slash off. Like his two front lines move a lot faster. They move too fast, in fact. The zips forward from Mile Will from Laurel and the blink chase from Collapse means that they know your openings. And your jug is just stuck trying to run up. Ravage.
Collapse. They have at least found Saberlight. Onto Abed they go. Team Spirit, they are still trying without their jug available. And they are defending, at least for now. But Arteezy's going to jump back in onto Mirror. Mirror able to get away. Abed still chasing and will take him down with the Chakram. As Abed, he actually survives. Team Spirit could not take him out. Lyle trying to run, but the blast off from Crit will land. Will get the job done. But they aren't finding any racks. Arteezy, he's able to TP away. But at the end of the day, the top melee barracks is still there. The mid T3 tower is still there. I thought they found a little bit more than that, but apparently not.
No, not quite there. A messy back and forth situation here for both sides. And Shopify Rebellion coming out a little bit cleaner, of course, but it was all of those kills, all of the forced movement out from Team Spirit. Team Spirit, for their part, it felt like they should have had so many more opportunities to make use of Yatoro, but just being kited around. He's the primary roar target now. He's the primary static storm target. Even if they catch just the jug, it's more than enough. No one else is doing that much damage on the side of Team Spirit. They need the Omni Slash to fly out here from Yatoro. And he is just rushing a blink now. Understanding that he needs a way to actually be in front of that Dusa. Actually needs a way to keep up with the Storm and the Tide because they are moving way too fast and forcing these fights out. We just haven't seen an Omni from Yatoro in like a good, I don't know, 10-15 minutes almost feels like. And that's what they need to play around here on Team Spirit. They have a pretty big disadvantage with at least one lane that's just going to constantly shove in. You are massive right now on our tour. Has the full Daedalus up now on the Dusa as well. So the rundown damage is there. And as long as Shopify Rebellion kind of stick together for the most part, even that Omni Slash might not be enough. There are quite a few tanky heroes now in the form of the Timbersaw and the Beastmaster that if you do waste a couple of your slashes on the Omni, on anything but the Dusa, then you might not have enough to even find that kill.
You may not. Team Spirit remaining as a unit. Shopify Rebellion grouped up themselves here through the mid lane. Blink now up in your Toro. Like he needs that mobility to really jump the targets he wants. He cannot afford to keep getting caught by the Static Storm of Fly. Just has no answer for it. Team Spirit, they're going to smoke up as 5. This could be the final team fight for them. So if they can't pull off this one, the game just kind of falls apart. No buyback available on Yatoro for this one. Shopify, they will stand their ground on the east of the map by the Dire Tormentor. Team Spirit trying to move high ground, should have their smoke broke, but they'll see the Medusa. They'll jump Arteezy immediately. That's the only target they really wanted, and they've got him. Shopify, they had no answer for this. A perfect Ravage initiation from Collapse. They will find more. Crit will go down. 3 down for Shopify. Team Spirit losing nothing.
Yeah, and that's the kind of fight we were looking for from Spirit. That's how it feels like every other fight should have gone. Just an instant blow up on Medusa. No counter control coming out from Shopify. Saberlight on an entirely different area of the map. They don't manage to stick together as a complete unit. A few of the tools were missing there for the fight. And Spirit keep themselves in that game. They drag it all the way back to a 1k lead for the side of Shopify Rebellion. They can start to continue that build up on Yatoro. He is trying to work himself onto the Lincolns now, on that Jug. So just wanting the protection from the roar, even through the spin. It's going to feel pretty impactful if he can find a space to fully farm that up. You see Laurel going for the Ags now as well on the Storm. The AoE Vortex to provide more teamfight control. And Collapse just rushing into the refresh. Double Ravage. So this game, again, there's a good moment there for Shopify Rebellion. They open up a little bit. They take top range racks. They take a lot of good fights. But as long as Spirit execute this way and you're not able to roar that Jug, Yatoro will rip you apart. You have to watch this Jug every single time now.
Absolutely. This Jug's certainly getting to a scary stage. Net worth advantage down to 1k. 53% win probability here for Shopify Rebellion, but a very close game. Hard to know who pulls off this victory now. Team Spirit, they are casually just waiting for Roshan to respawn, hoping for an early timer. And it will be one. 25 seconds in the Roshan respawn. Not long at all to wait. Shopify, they have got everyone back up though. Scythe device now being picked up on Arbit. That could be a game changer here in this this next fight. They are going to move their way up to the Roshan pit. Roshan now 5 seconds away from respawn. Spirit already in position. They've got some wards around this Lotus Ball ready to go. Yatoro is going to see the targets. Shopify still moving in. Ravage out. They found Arteezy. They've got Arteezy again. Collapse without hesitation. Will jump on the Medusa with the Ravage. Securing the kill with the Omni. And now he has the Scythe device up. They might be able to do it a secondary time. Crit does get caught. They'll drop the static storm into Yatoro, but the lift away is there. This Fly is trying to get out, but he is caught to boot. So they will roll up the Jug. Yatoro, he is gone. He'll commit a buyback himself. Mirror, he'll drop right after. His Arteezy's gonna double. But they've got the Jug back into the fight. Yatoro has brought back for this. But can they start Roshan? It's a tough one. Without the Omni slash up, without the Ravage up, can you really fight Shopify Rebellion?
Doesn't feel like it. And they'll still hang around, maybe go for a steal play here.
They have the tendrils up at least, so they can mess around with that. Hex also available here for the Tide. However, speaking of that Tide, he's kind of getting jumped right now. Collapse, needing to back off, dropping lower and lower. Instead, they'll jump Arbet. A double stun here from Collapse, holding a couple down. The gaze on Arbet to boot. Arbet still surviving, still trying. Barely alive, but he is finally down. As Yatoro almost going down with the dieback, but does spin away. Instead, they'll find Lala Maposhka. Yatoro, he's just going to reset with the healing ward. They cannot allow Roshan to go the way of Shopify. They are trying so hard to ensure that they do not get away with this. And they are forcing Shopify back once again. It's all about buying time for Ravage and Omni to be back up. Because once those are up, you can ensure a dieback on Arteezy. And you can ensure Roshan to go your way.
They're not even going to try to pressure anymore on the side of Shopify. It's so difficult without Abed around. He's your follow-up control. He's the Hex carrier right now for Shopify Rebellion. I mean, Saberlight still has his as well. But you need someone else at front line that's beyond Arteezy. Arteezy can't afford to die first.
Roshan's just gone. Refresher shot is available. There's your Omni, but a nice Lotus coming out. Who did that? I think it may have been Abed with the Lotus saving the day, as Arteezy is not going to drop by yet. In fact, who was that? It was Crit, not Abed. There we go. Lyle's down on the Storm. On they go to Yatoro, but they're losing mana on the Medusa. There's your Ravage from Collapse, holding them down. Aeon Disc, it's not going to save. It doesn't seem like it, at least because Yatoro, he is not backing off. There goes Arteezy, there goes Sableye, and there goes Fly. Only 2 left. No buybacks available. Crit, he will go down.
Oh, man. That is not the way that Shopfire Rebellion wanted it to go. Good save coming out from Crit, but Lotus.
Yatoro, he's not done. He wants Abed, he wants the final piece of the puzzle. He's not going to get it though. Abed does just hex and chain away.
But I don't think Abed can stop this high ground push by himself. He can clear out the creep waves for sure. There's no creep wave here for the side of Team Spirit to play with, although it is inching forward now. He can't really stop the full push. At least the Fortify is there. They can clear out the creep wave that way. The backup is going to take its time, but Yatoro has more than enough attack speed to at least clear out one set of racks here. And they can just follow through elsewhere. Mid being shoved in as well. So backdoor is not going to kick in. 60 seconds for Artur. I mean, that's a lot of time for the side of Team Spirit to just clear out. They'll take 2 racks, it looks like, with a split up.
Yeah. Quad Rax goes down, mid Rax goes down, Team Spirit. May as well just go for the Megas, knowing that there's no Medusa for 45. Huge comeback here from the Spirit. And that last team fight looked like it could have been a little bit rough, but Spirit still managed to make it work. Abed moving back in. Omni is back up. So Yatoro does have that big ulti ready to go whenever. He will lose a lot of HP to get started, but they do have the healing ward right behind him as now the tendrils do come out. Abed has been trapped up. Static Storm was dropped. They only core collapse with that. The Tide, he's a tanky boy. He's walking away. Meanwhile, the Omni onto Sableye. Sableye, they're not going to die. The Glimmer Cape will save. Abed has gone down. They've got to try and fight as Arteezy. He is respawning now. Yatoro, he might lose the first life, or maybe not even. Here comes Arteezy. He'll TP into the tier 3 tower, but they are not aiming down the jug. They'll go after Collapse instead. The Tidehunter release is down. They might find Maposhka to boot. They do save themselves from the Megas. 2 racks is down, but they are not against Megas yet. Shopify Rebellion still well and truly in this game. And with one dieback at least on the Lich, maybe you can pressure high ground. Though Collapse at least does have buyback on the Tide.
Yeah, they've still got the buyback with a Ravage ready. That was a pretty forced fight out from Team Spirit, going for the Omni on without any detection up front. It's a little bit risky. You don't have your Swift Slash as well, so if it jumps around a lot, you don't have the follow-up to just burst down, get that extra bit of damage in for Yatoro. They can try onto the high ground. It's still risky. If you die on Artur here, it could spell the end, but at the same time, if you find Yatoro, you can also bank on this game going your way on Shopify Rebellion. It's all in now with his push.
Even Tier 3 tower, already quite low. Toro, Omni slash up in 25. Lyle's gonna zip through. Try and deal with the creep waves. There goes even tier 3. Onto the mid racks they go. Shopify. Still waiting for Collapse to respawn, and now he will. Again, Omni slash still about 20 seconds away though. Make that 5 in fact. Time just flew by. Won't matter though, as they are just gonna retreat here on Shopify Rebellion. Double damage is gonna be found here for Arteezy. And they're gonna smoke straight off the back of this. But they've got double Ravage. They've got Omni. This could be very dangerous.
Certainly not something that's going to be very simple for the side of Shopify. With Spirit, the Aegis will expire soon on Yatoro, so this is the opening. They've got the full Ags now as well on Fly. So the mute on the Static Storm is going to be complicating the process for Spirit, but they'll smoke up as well.
They're gonna try. This could be the deciding team fight here, John. There's just not many buybacks left on the map. Only Sablite's the only core here in the Beastmaster that can actually buy back into this game. 26 to 28, 6k advantage. None of it matters now. Smoke is going to wear off for Shopify. Team Spirit still have theirs going. Through the die triangle they'll go. Into the mid lane, they'll get that ward placement down from Aposhka. Arteezy about to show himself on the creep wave. It looks like that's the target they love to burst down with this Ravage Omni. They've got to be a little bit wary of the Lotus Orbs though, because we saw Crit last time around in the team fight. Just completely abusing it to waste the Omni. They are going to go for another smoke again. Double damage has now worn off, so you don't have that bonus damage for Arteezy. This Collapse is going to break the smoke on the Medusa. Has not made the jump in yet though, as his Jug was not nearby. Arteezy's still walking through the mid lane. Is being watched. Collapse thinking about it. Lyle's gonna jump in. There's your Ravage. It's connected on 4. Yatoro, he's in with the Omni, but it bounces the wrong way. It bounces the wrong way. Ravage is out again, but they don't have the damage now. Yatoro, he gets so unlucky. Side device out onto the Jug. Yatoro is still trying. Maybe he's got enough. Arteezy's out of mana. It's completely drained. Arteezy's gone. But the buyback is there. Crit with the blast off, trying to make more time for Arteezy to join the team fight, but there's nowhere to TP2. It's a triple kill for Yatoro. The Ancient, however, the tier 4 towers, they were under siege. Well, they've got to be careful. They're a bit split up right now. Collapse mid lane. He's been caught. Slowed up by the Skadi. Yatoro's trying to move in and threaten. It'll be enough for Collapse to back his way out.
Oh man, this is.
Oh, what is this game?
It's a lot of back and forth. Like the Omni Slash really unlucky, but the Jug in a free area, uncontested, not being controlled up, has enough damage. Like you do have enough right click to get that done. The damage from Medusa is just not enough to really melt you, and they'll go for the Megas.
Final lane of barracks. Yatoro moving in, trying to put the nail on the head here. It's going to back off. 1 melee barracks has been left. They'll go for the Tormentor while they're at it. Yatoro will just solo it himself. The shards goes to nobody? Everyone's got a shards, I guess.
Just the gold coming out. Very helpful in trying to get up that buyback that's still lacking in Collapse here.
Very nice. Zip forward. They've got a Static Storm on Yatoro. That's an Ag Static Storm. He is muted up, but Lyle is saving the day. A huge Vortex coming out. Lyle, you'll find Fly on the Disruptor, but now he's been caught. A Storm down for a Disruptor. Pretty good trade for now for Shopify. Yatoro is going to jump in. Not finding the Omni Slash quite yet. He's being very patient, but they've drained the matter of Arteezy. The stun coming in from Collapse is actually going to land with the Meteor Hammer, but Arteezy, he'll turn without mana now. Back in onto Yatoro and Collapse, but it looks like he'll go for the reset. His Team Spirit are still trying to go for the Megas. Yatoro, he's getting the job done. Glyph will be forced. Reset is there for the Medusa. They'll move back in now. Yatoro with the spin. He can get the job done. There goes your Megas. It's incoming. A Saberlight will jump in with the blink out, but it had no roar available. So Spirit now with the Mega Creeps up, feeling confident. They'll hang around this Radiant base. They will not back off quite yet. They want to get the creeps in the base and start applying pressure. And keep in mind, John, Ravage is back up. And double Ravage is available in 10 seconds.
It's a scary timing. Shopify Rebellion, they've got the BKB up for Arteezy, so at least the Ravage won't be able to catch you out here. Roshan is only about a minute away. Team Spirit, not willing to risk it. So much on the line. One bad fight can go either team's way. Mega Creep's not the biggest deal in the world for the side of Shopify Rebellion, as they can hold with the turret that is the Medusa. We shall see. Roche, a minute spawn. It should spawn down south with this timing as well. It's going to be a daytime spawn with free Ags on hand. You might have preferred the free refresh. Like even a double Vortex for Laurel could have been amazing. Double Omni Slash for Yatoro. But at the least with, say, a daytime Roche here with the Ags, Yatoro will have the backup of the Swift Slash. He should be priority. So, we'll see if they're given the opportunity. Again, Shopify Rebellion kind of stuck in their high ground. But they don't mind playing against the Megas. They can hold all day with this kind of draft. Inside of Team Spirit, I mean, it's getting really hard to deal with. We're seeing all the hex spam coming out from the side of Shopify Rebellion. We're seeing like everything being thrown out onto Yatoro. But Mira with the saves, man. He's got the Wind Waker. So even with the Ag Static Storm, with the Wind Waker ready, with Mira standing a mile away in the back line, with his own ninja gear as well, like, he's got the save. You're not able to really burst down Yatoro, despite multiple hexes and the Static Storm being there.
Roshan, here we go. Aximus is going to be available for Yatoro. Could also hand it to Lal if you really want. Just give him an extra slot. And I think Yatoro is going to make the call to take this for himself. That Swift Slash just so handy. The Omni is not available, and there you go. Ag's now up for the Jug. Aegis will be taken to boot by Yatoro. The cheese will be handed to Lal instead. The double Ravage, Omni Slash, the AoE Vortex, everything is available. They're still playing cautiously, because you are still playing against Medusa. You're playing up against the Disruptor with Ags. So you are still going to play with caution going into this high ground. But with the secondary life on Yatoro, he may just be too much to deal with. 28k net worth advantage on top. They'll move in through the bot lane. The final defense from Shopify. Unless they can kill Yatoro twice. Yatoro jumps in immediately. Fly. Fly is gone. Buyback is available. Sableye, he got hexed up. He's going to be just fine. It's the Static Storm. Will get dropped on the tide. They want to get rid of that double Ravage, but he is not dying. They don't have the damage yet to lift away. Now Lal jumps in. A big AoE Vortex into the Omni Slash of Yatoro. A double kill. Make it a triple right in the fountain. It's over. It is well and truly over. Team Spirit proving to be too damn good in this game number 1. Shopify, they were close, but not quite close enough. Spirit proving to be the better team here in game 1, and what a game it was, John.
Oh boy, what a game indeed. It looked like it was all over for Shopify Rebellion much earlier on there with a lead that Team Spirit was building up, but they rally, they get some punishment out. Team Spirit in the later parts of these fights, they were pretty scrappy. It all boiled down to a couple of things on those last few engagements. Really down to Mira with his positioning on the Rubik, getting these left backs with the Rubik Ag Shord, getting the usage of the Wind Waker during the Static Storm, bailing out Collapse, bailing out Yatoro. And that was the real key thing, that they didn't have backline jump here on the side of Shopify Rebellion. Yes, they had a Timbersaw, but to drag your Timbersaw all the way back with no tree line made it really uncomfy. And just the fact that this Rubik was uncontested and getting these saves out gave Team Spirit all of these openings that more than likely they shouldn't have been able to find. You know, a few of those fights were really scrappy. They're running forward with Yatoro, but again, just these Wind Wakers during the Static Storm and the left backs, it was more than enough to give them that time they needed to get these spell usages off.
Yeah, it was an incredible performance here from Team Spirit. I mean, props to Shopify Rebellion. They almost pulled off a victory there themselves, but the Jug just proving to be a bit too much, and, well, quite frankly, the whole squad of Team Spirit just looking so strong in a game like this. Just, you see that coordination really starting to shine here from Team Spirit, and maybe just really getting the hang of the hang of this current patch. The Shopify Rebellion, I mean, they still do have their chances to try and force a draw in this this best of 2 series against Team Spirit, but they are going to have to win game number 2, which doesn't look like it's going to be the easiest of tasks considering how game number 1 went. But at the very least, hopefully a draw to be forced out from Shopify, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, again, it was pretty close, all things considered. The fact that they found these openings up against Team Spirit was already a big win. I think, again, it's hard to say it's a draft. I think perhaps Abid's mid-timber didn't feel like it was the most impactful. It felt like they needed something else to really jump the back line. You also had some issues with Arteezy taking front line, going into Roche. And that one Roche fight where everyone bought back, it started because Arteezy was just running forward himself. It's like, he shouldn't be tanking that as the Dusa, despite being so durable. Not the hero you want to die first. So a few things to clean up for Shopify Rebellion. We'll see if they correct for that game too.
Yeah, absolutely, John. We are going to head off to a short break, but of course, before that break comes, enjoy the largest integrated resort in Bali, Ayana Estate, with its beautiful ocean views, secluded beach, lush jungle, and of course the rock bar. Ayana Estate, you go ahead and check it out right now. Apart from that, though, Jonathan, we'll head off to a short break, and of course, right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2 between Team Spirit and Shopify Rebellion. We'll see you soon.
your skills in the gaming. 1xBet.
Semua bisa jadi nyata dengan upgrade wifi rumahmu pakai Biznet
Nah,
Home.
ini baru internet rumah buat orang-orang terdepan. Mimpi kecil bisa jadi besar. Dan kamu juga bisa mendunia. Jadi, siap wujudkan semua jadi nyata?
Panas. Ini oven nih. Hai. Ya kelar. Wih. Nah ini Sukroven si paling seru. Mau gini seru. Mau gitu seru woy. Mau lagi? Lagi. Terus aja lagi. Sukroven seru from the oven.
The world is your stage. Take the first step to change. Lead with vision and innovation. Perfect your strategy and make your goals reality.
Así que vaya.
Get in the game. Make it count.
Use your skills in the gaming. 1xBet.
Hello, Mike.
Hey, John.
We're live.
Oh, hello. Good to be back, Jonathan. Welcome back. We're into the game number 2 of this series. Good to know that somebody told me we're going live. It's MLP Dota and John X5. John, welcome back, sir. How you doing?
Doing great. Looking forward to what this game 2 provides. Already starting off with a bit of surprise, Mike.
Yeah,
and that
no
was
kidding.
already a very big back and forth, of course, for Team Spirit and Shopfire Rebellion. I'm keen on seeing what happens here for game number 2, and I know what to say. I'm looking forward to it. Is the least that I can say here. So yeah.
All right, game number 2. I mean, Team Spirit obviously dominating game 1. It was quite a close matchup here between these two teams. I mean, props to Shopify Rebellion for putting up a great fight, Jonathan, but obviously it wasn't quite enough. Going into game 2, though, like, what do you think we need to change up here from Shopify? I mean, it was a pretty close match, but is there anything in particular you'd like to see changed up?
I think the mid here for Abed, they need some backline jump here on the side of Shopify Rebellion. No one was really contesting Mira. It felt like he was allowed to get a lot of saves that he really shouldn't have been allowed to get. And I think that was just a really big part of those later fights. Just the fact that the Rubik was able to get everything he wanted to do. He was able to get the saves. It made the game a lot harder for the side of Shopify Rebellion to kind of find some openings. Also some positional things, like RTZ taking point in that Roche fight was really less than ideal. Unsure as to why he felt the need to take point going into the pit, and that does cost him. Again, that Roche fight led to like the extreme amount of buybacks that ended up working for the side of Team Spirit. Otherwise, they had some pretty good moments. They're finding some openings where Team Spirit themselves were playing pretty lousy, and I think they've got to be a little bit cautious about, you know, misplaying like that, because a team like Spirit will find these openings and kind of use it against you quite nicely.
Yeah, absolutely. We will be going into game 2 draft soon enough, I'm sure, and we'll see what they try to change up here for Shopify Rebellion's end. Again, like, they were sitting in 6th place last time we checked in the standings here for Shopify Rebellion, so obviously they don't really want another draw if they can avoid it, but they can't avoid it now, so they need to try and force a draw here against Team Spirit. Team Spirit were tied up in 4th place with Team Asta last we checked, so trying to move their way up to the top 4 placement and to secure their position. Shopify, though, again, in a very dire kind of position, because they are in the red at the moment in 6th place, so need to make your way up if you can. How many series do they even have left? Like, what, they have this one, they have IG after this, and then tomorrow they have nothing. So they only have this series and the next one coming up to try and get the points on the board here for Shopify. Otherwise, you might be stuck in the red zone.
Yeah, certainly not quite in the safe zone at all for Shopify Rebellion. If they get 2-0'd here, that could literally be it. You know, like, you kind of have to go all in here, try to find at least a draw, and then hope for a 2-0 win in the next series. Otherwise, you know, NA is not going to be in a very happy spot, Mikey. The good old Shopify Rebellion fans will be asking a lot of questions like, Miracle sub for this, Mikey sub for this. You know, I've already seen that quite a fair bit in chat, and I'm expecting that to continue. You guys keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, why the hell not? Why the hell not? Anyway, again, game number 2 draft should be underway rather soon. Looks like we are having somewhat of a delay here, but we'll see what they look to change up. I mean, you kind of talked about the mid Timber Saw. That was kind of destroyed here by Team Spirit. They just did not allow any kind of impact from this Timber to come out from the mid lane. The techies were shut down quite a bit. Saw Maposhka getting some lovely gazes off, getting some lovely lifts off there with Mira. I just can't say it was a complete outdraft. It's very hard to say that. I think it was just Team Spirit completely outplaying Shopify at the end of that game number 2, rather game number 1, and well, we'll see if they outplay again in game 2. Again, it still hasn't begun, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much we can talk about in circles here, Mike. We tried that in the first game. So how was your night? You know, what's been with you, Mike? You know, what's new? We can have a podcast session, it's fine. The first 2 bans are the same anyway as well. Techies, Undying, Pugna, Timbersaw perhaps. Who cares? What's new with you, Mike? What's not much, in your opinion? What is that?
I was going to say, Jonathan, I only realized the shirt you've got on looks very, very nice today. This is a new one that I haven't seen quite yet. Jonathan, when did you pick this one up?
It's also from H&M. One of the 2 shirts. You've seen both of the shirts I've ever bought from H&M, so there you go. Sponsor must be very happy. H&M, shout out to you guys. Bought it at your Abriza branch. Stock is pretty
Abriza.
decent, so I'm happy. Yeah, Abriza and Davao City. Y'all are getting me docs now. You know where I'm from. And if you don't believe me, there's a bunch of people out there who don't believe I'm from the Philippines. I am. I'm from Davao City, down south. Abriza Mall. That's where I bought this from the H&M there. H&M, I'm very happy again.
Oh.
Doing you guys what you want.
I thought you were American.
Oh,
you
well,
were-
sometimes
sorry,
I
John.
am, Mikey. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm not. I can choose. I can pick and choose.
Let's head into the draft. We've got it underway now. Game number 2. Team Spirit vs Shopify Rebellion. You talked about those bans that are going to be removed anyway. Do you know, Undying, Techies, Timbersaw, Beastmaster. Plenty of heroes that can get removed here between these two teams.
5 seconds remaining.
See what they do prioritize getting rid of.
Probably Pugna first phase ban every single time, followed by the Undying. Wouldn't be too surprised in that order. And then either the Timbersaw, Broodmother, Lycan, either a core like that or something like the Ench can be banned out. Occasionally we see Batrider being a priority first phase ban. It's pretty open. There's a lot of heroes. And they will actually just ban the Storm. Team Spirit, recognizing that, you know, maybe Shopify Rebellion, maybe they start off with something like the Storm this time for Abed, so force him to play something else once more. And they do ban out the Ench. Again, respecting what Team Spirit can do with that hero. So I'm wondering, yeah, will you let the Pugna through with the Storm being banned? Is that still a concern? Is Undying a concern here? Is Techies, was crits Techies really that big of a concern to ban out? Doesn't feel like it, honestly.
Still thinking about these bans. Storm Spirit being removed here by Spirit, not wanting to give that away to Abed, of course. The old break if an emergency hero. Still thinking about the second ban out though.
Dire team ban.
Undying will be removed, of course, unsurprisingly. Techies? Do we remove Techies, or is it just going to be left again?
10 seconds remaining.
So they're going to think about this this second ban out here for Shopify's end of things.
Team Spirits.
They're getting rid of the Tide Hunter. I mean, that Tide from Collapse was doing a lot of work, I suppose. So just really ensuring that that they do not give this away to get into Collapse.
Dire team pick.
They're going to go down the Morphling route.
Dire team pick.
It's like we've lost John X Fire, which is a real shame because his Lion is going to come out here for Shopify Rebellion. Right into the Visage as well, which is a Saberlight special. Bring out the micro heroes for Saberlight. Spirit with the Morphling, they're going to be pretty damn strong. This Morphling hero in particular just felt absolutely busted
10 seconds remaining.
throughout the whole of this major so far. Of course, even before the major, the Morphling was proving to be extremely potent. We'll have a think about the second pick. Hello, John. It looks like he's still trying to come back. Team Spirit.
Hello, Mike. I do apologize.
Hello.
I'm back. Power Surge. It's because of you calling me out whether or not I'm Filipino and American. Suddenly the electricity goes out, so you know which I am.
Very good. Actually, I probably still, to be honest with you, John. It comes out for Team Spirit. So that'll be a... I mean, we've seen the Spirit Breaker be very, very effective, obviously. Such a strong position for to have right now. Obviously, just being able to get it away from crit to boot. So you won't have to waste a ban on that if you're Team Spirit. So we do go back into the second ban phase.
Dire team ban.
Yeah. I do have to say, on the side of Shopify Rebellion going into this Visage is... It's rather surprising. I mean, it has been a top tier hero. I think its normal combination is something like the Spirit Breaker on the offlane, but with a Lion Opener, it can work. You have enough damage to kind of dish out. You can play with the Soul Assumption, Grave Chill. I'm wondering if they do go all in on something like the Grave Chill here. So we have seen that prioritized a couple of times in laning phase, come like a 3-1-1 build by 5, which honestly it feels a little bit weird. I don't know if you're really maximizing the wave chill a lot in these chases in comparison to just dealing damage up front with your aura build up. So I'm keen to see what Shopify will do. You can see what Saberlight, I'm assuming, will do with that Visage. You do have hard control for the line, for the Morphling, just with the line pickup. So Blink Hex, again, a lot of pressure on your line here to perform. And we've seen this happen before as well, where if you're not able to blink in, Hex, break the Lincolns with Mana Drain first into the Hex, it's pretty complicated for a line in trying to get that Morphling out. Like, there's enough of a small opening for Morphling to just instant shift or instantly waveform away. So I don't think this is clear cut at all for Shopify Rebellion, even with something like hard control on the line.
Now the aim getting removed as well. Like the Morphling does not enjoy the aim hero very much. Shopify Rebellion so far focused on the mid ban outs, getting rid of the Pangolier. A lot of time being used up for these ban stages, it feels like.
Team spirits turn to ban.
Bat Rider going to be removed. I suppose just really trying to emphasize Arbet having a good laning stage in the mid lane. Which is important because, again, last game the impact wasn't really there for the mid timber. Meanwhile, of course, Team Spirit's still focused on just trying to ensure these position ones of Arteezy aren't going to be directly countering their Morphling.
5 seconds remaining.
Still have some illusion spam that can be annoying for the Morphling to deal with. Something like the Naga, I suppose, or the Terrorblade. Naga may be a higher priority. Naga PL, if they are concerned about that in Team Spirit's end. Those are probably one of the only heroes we see kind of winning out up against a Morph. So I'm interested to see which one Team Spirit will allow through. Like, you're fairly secure already with just the AM ban, it feels like, but yeah, we've seen a PL kind of win out. Just run him down, melt his mana. Even if you shift into the PL, sure, your illusions hit a lot less hard, but at the same time, it is painful. And they will just respect the PL. Again, Naga's an option here for side of Shopify Rebellion if they want to pick that up. I still don't mind that, even though, again, Morphling can just turn into Naga through her illusions, and Naga loses a lot of damage and stats, but and no one feels good playing into Morphling directly. It's just atrocious once the axe is up.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
Final ban to come. Shopify Rebellion. Are they going to ban out another mid or another off lane? Either way. They're going to have another heavy think about this one. There goes the Mars now.
Team spirits
Shopify
turn to pick.
right into the techies again. So they're just going to go ahead and take it for themselves. Again, the stats on the techies with Shopify has not been too high, to say the least. But it's kind of the matter of the hero's still broken. You can't really leave it to be taken by Team Spirit, so they're just going to go ahead and take it themselves.
Yeah, I don't mind that too much, but support 2 of Techie's line is at the very least a lot of burst damage on hand, a lot of aggression. I'm a little bit surprised they opt for the Techies over something like, say, I don't know, like maybe a Shadow Demon, right? Like, you're up against a Spirit Breaker, you want to save, you're up against a Morphling. Morphling's own illusions kind of hurt back. So maybe a Shadow Demon might have given you a lot. Demonic Purge is pretty good on Morph when his waveform's down as well. So you can try to get that chase down. With the Techies, at least this Techie's Visage lane coming out now, it starts to feel a lot more comfy, although you could still run the Visage Lion lane, depending on how Fly and Crit want to flex here. I do love that Team Spirit just go back into that Mira Rubik, or maybe flexing it out again. Probably a little bit of flex opening here, unless they just go all in on like a collapsed Spirit Breaker, but Mira had a fantastic time in the Rubik. Maybe not in the spell steals, but certainly on the saving plays, the lift back with a shard, the Wind Waker plays, the Glimmer Capes to stall for time. And you still don't have the clearest backline jump here from Shopify Rebellion. Like, you've got the line blink, I suppose. Techie's Blast Off was there last game as well. You need something on mid. No, I do not. Yeah, nah.
They went back
Dusa
to
into
Medusa.
Morph. This is...
Yes.
I mean, you have you have Dusa Lion, but it's really a moot point because you barely reach level 15 online fast enough that you can help your Deuce out when she's having a bad start. So that timing's out the window. They're laning into Beastmaster, which, to be fair, feels decent for a Deusa. Mystic Snake spam out, but Collapse here can just go for the Axis build. You don't mind that too much. I don't like this hero. Mike, I don't like the Deusa coming out here. I don't think it fits with the tempo. It has a really bad core-to-core matchup with the Morphling. It does not feel good.
No. No, it does not. The Morphling's certainly going to have a very good time against the Medusa this game by the looks of it. And Shopify, they have drafted this into the Morphling, so they must have some kind of idea against this Morph. Just once you get the Ags timing on the Morphling, things just become so challenging. For the Medusa, that is, at least. Final bans to come, though. They'll get rid of the Snapfire here for Team Spirit. I believe they are still looking for a mid lane hero for Team Spirit's end of things. See the mid snap by popping up here and there, proving to be pretty damn strong. Team Spirit, they do get rid of the Ember Spirit for now.
10 seconds remaining.
Love the fact that Timbersaw has literally just been left alone to be picked up by either side. Neither one banning it out for themselves.
No. It's rather funny, because I think either side could look for it as in mid again, as you mentioned, but I don't know about putting Abed in something like that. I feel like you really want to be able to jump forward, regardless of whether or not there are trees in the area. Your movement as the Timbersaw is a little bit more constrained. Your durability as well, it's not like instantaneous, so running up is also not the best feeling, which is why maybe a couple of times Arteezy was taking point. Man with the puck now as well on Team Spirit's end, so again taking away anything that can cut through your Morphling's mobility here. I suppose the Storm is... well, Storm's first phase ban, so Quap, Lina, Zeus, maybe a weird pocket Lesh. Maybe again that Timbersaw. Those are all open. A DK perhaps? I can see a DK lining up for maybe more in Team Spirit. I like it with the pushing pace a Beastmaster can provide. But you could also gun for it on Shopify Rebellion. It's fairly open.
One more ban to come.
Team Spirit's turn to pick.
There goes the sniper ban out now. It's not something I was quite expecting to see, but it does get removed. It's Team Spirit, final pickup. 4 seconds reserve time left to think about this. Still need a mid here for lol.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Ango is an option as well, I suppose. If you wanted that, nothing to stop you from rolling around here. Diffusal Pango can just rip... oh no, Pango is banned. They go to Quap. So, straightforward. Just Quap. It can crush most lane matchups. If you are looking for something like the Timbersaw or the DK here, Quap feels pretty happy up against that. Although I'd say the DK probably still finds what it wants. Just Dragon Tail stun and deny. You're happy enough. But I don't like the DK for Abed either. You know, it's like your point about more active mids. You don't want them to be stuck playing one-button heroes in lane. You want them to be able to do a lot more with their kit. They actually go for the DK. Okay.
Yeah.
Not the biggest fan. Again, I mean, I get why. It's a stable lane. It's a stable lane, but you don't want Abed to just get a stable lane, right? You want him to do so much more. It's...
I mean, they are going to have the tempo, at least, with the Visage Dragon Knight. Like, you do at least have the push potential coming in. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't like it. Like, it's not exactly the kind of hero you expect Abed to be playing, and... this kind of draft, it feels like you fall behind and that's just it. You know, it's all the eggs in the Medusa basket again. And the thing is, they have the Morphling, so they already have a very, very strong counter in the Morphling against this Medusa. Ag's timing's going to come up and things are going to be pretty rough, I think, for Arteezy, unless Shopify can set a pace that you can't really keep up with. I don't know if this is going to be really possible with this draft. I have my doubts. I know you have your doubts, John. I think we can both agree, at least Spirits seem to be having the better draft going to this game too. But I suppose only time will tell.
I'm not even sure of how well this push potential comes out from Shopify Rebellion, because you've got the Beastmaster who can also apply laning pressure push. You've got the Quap who can clear out these creep waves pretty nicely. So how much you can really get done onto these objectives remains to be seen. I think you have crit at least in the line, so Fly's on the Techies. You've got the Techies Dusa lane, which is pretty decent. You can kind of play with that. You can try to make it hard for Collapse to find his opening. But again, like, Techies with anything that interrupts blast off feels awful. Mira can always just left back if he sees the movement up. And suddenly that aggression onto Collapse is cut off. I'm not sure. I don't know what to say. I think Saberlight has to have a faster start with this Visage. We've seen Visages go off to a slow start. And it's funny because it was Team Spirit we saw with a Visage play really slow at that hero. So they should know what the weaknesses of that Visage is, having lost with it recently. They should be aware of what to do. Like, if Saberlight just camps a lane, farms into his Solar Crest, and doesn't do anything to stop the enemy core from farming, doesn't do anything to tie into his team with that aggressive push, then the hero falls flat. It's not a hero you really want to farm too late with. Wants to apply pressure, so that's what we need to see here from Shopify.
Let's get into it. Game number 2 between Shopify Rebellion and Team Spirit underway. Good luck, have fun's coming out once again. Tips being handed out all across. And an immediate smoke on smoke, but it's just going to be for some ward placement.
You know,
So we are going to have a pause coming out from Collapse straight off the bat, it seems. Some TeamSpeak issues happening here for Team Spirit.
TeamSpeak or Team Spirit issues? Oh.
It could be either. Yes, if it is TeamSpeak, they're not the only ones having audio issues, John. So the good news there for me, at least. It's Shopify Rebellion.
I mean, did you hear that a lot of players are having stomach issues for some reason?
Barley belly, you mean?
I don't know how. They're in the Ayana estate, you know? That shouldn't be an issue at all. I'm pretty sure they don't have time to go around.
The thing is, though, like, it's from what I've heard, I've never had the pleasure of being to the beautiful Bali, but I've heard it's pretty easy to get an upset stomach early on. You know, if you're not too careful. Maybe just, like, ice cubes in your drink could have done it, perhaps.
Yeah, but again, like, it's the Ayana estate. You know, it's like,
well,
I don't think it's... Maybe they couldn't handle the spice of a food, you know? Like,
perhaps.
I slather on a lot of sambal onto my nasi lemak every morning. You saw this when we were at Malaysia. It's a whole lot of spice. I would always look for that rice. To be fair, how many times were we even awake for breakfast, Mike? I count 1 time, maybe 2. So maybe not seeing that much. That's fair.
I can't remember going to. Shopify, still 5-man smoked. We'll run into Team Spirit. Smoke will be broken. Immediately Team Spirit are backing their way out. The Miposhka has stuck around a little bit longer just to get a proper view of what's going on. But he is fine to back his way out of this. Some wards placed down here from Shopify, but that's about it. Arteezy still tipping Collapse. Collapse will hand it back to him. The last lane around, Collapse had a fantastic time, killing Arteezy twice in the first, like, 5 minutes. Arteezy maybe just paying his respects.
Yeah. Just paying some of that respect out.
The battle begins.
Let's see if they get respected in the lane, though. Even start on the bounties. Nothing too exciting there. No big movement being forced out. And going to be keen on seeing again how much happens in this laning phase. Do start off with a little bit of forward movement out, Collapse, and Arteezy just waving at each other. No high fives to really be committed. Still, so while we're here, might as well take a look. Collapse and Mira on the Beastmaster and Rubik. They are up against Arteezy. And Fly on the Medusa Tactics lane. So honestly, not too bad of a lane for the Medusa. This shouldn't be too rough for Artur. He should be able to hold out and farm. Collapse should also be able to play with a Wild Axis. And I think the one thing for Fly here is that if he does blast off, he has to be cautious about where the Rubik is and whether or not he committed that lift up at level 2. Because once you have the lift, anything that interrupts Techie's blast off makes the hero feel pretty damn awful. That's the one counter. Just stop him from landing the blast off and suddenly his laning presence is just down to right clicks, which Mira doesn't mind trading with a Fade Bolt. So it evens out that Techie's trading lane and it becomes a farming lane for Collapse and Artur.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, Saberlight able to secure first blood, it seems. Miposhka going down already. Just can't underestimate how much damage you can do with the Soul Assumption. Of course, Yatoro, at that level 1 mark on the Morphling, needs to be pretty cautious himself. So we'll sit back, let Miposhka die, and just wait for the creep wave to push into the tier 1 tower. At least for the early levels, Shopify Rebellion at this bottom lane should have a pretty damn good time.
Yeah. And can maintain aggression. There's a positive feedback loop of the line's damage tying in there, and they also managed to catch out that Rubik, although Fly.
Fly should go down. Collapse eventually will reach. There you go, 1 for 1, but Shopify certainly looking a lot better already during this lane. Laning stage just being so much more aggressive with their heroes. The last game around, one of the big problems they did have was the laning stage was just so rough for them. But it seems like this game around, they've got it on lockdown. They're doing a pretty damn good job.
And they're ensuring that Miposhka's not really having presence down bot. I think that's the bigger issue. Like, the Spirit Breaker plus Morphling doesn't do too much. They do miss the blast off up top. Again, the left back was there on Mira. Not going to get any kill opportunities out. RTZ, he is at half mana pool. Has to be cautious about a couple of wild axes coming out. Could be enough to melt him down and provide a kill opportunity. But so far, so you mentioned Shopify Rebellion finding a lot more in their lanes, even the mid lane for Abed. Again, it's DK up into Quap. You can always just Dragon Tail stun. You can always just look for the CS, play with a Breed Fire. It's a more passive lane. Lart's not going to be able to look for any kill opportunities with all of that regen on hand. Maybe by 6 you can, with the Scream of Pain emphasis and the Sonic Wave. That's when you can start to dish it out to Abed, but again, it's just slower on mid. Still trying up top.
Yeah, they jumped onto Mira, Fly. Sadly, didn't have a blood grenade to throw out that time around, so could not really keep Mira down long enough.
You know,
In that mid lane, the one lane we haven't really talked about at all, like Abed and Lal are just going at it. Pretty boring lane here in the mid, but Abed seems to be having a pretty good time. So is Lal. Of course, it is going to be a pretty even matchup between these two, so it's not too much to talk about up until maybe the level 6 timing of the Queen of Pain. For now, Abed sitting there pretty safely, just hitting some creeps.
And happy just play that farm game. Hit that level 6, get a push going. And see if the aggression comes out here for Lal. We're not able to get any rotations out, and Miposhka not able to really look for any charges out of this lane, as it is a high pressure lane for Yatoro. Yatoro is starting to lag a little bit behind in farm, but it's still having a slightly better time than Arteezius, at least overall in CS. You're more than happy kind of playing this right now. Both sides are looking for really support levels to get aggressive. Like, you do want the Spirit Breaker to start to hit level 4 or 5. Heck, even maybe wait for the 6 to truly commit onto the chase. Same thing goes for Shopify Rebellion. You kind of want the finger to be ready at some point.
Poshka being targeted here by Saberlight, but that'll be about it. As Arteezy up at top lane, finding Mirror again, has the hand up, but is very low on HP. Collapse will be able to take out the Deucer. So really not the worst trade here for Team Spirit. Fly is still trying for Collapse, does actually land the sticky bomb. Collapse trying his best to juke that one out and turn back on Fly, but will end up going down.
Good openings being found from both sides. A lot of aggression up top. The kill on the Medusa is still the bigger one. And Poshka again, though.
Poshka, very, very low, is going to drop. Yatoro has adaptive, will throw it. Crit, not going down yet, though. Really playing on the edge. Is barely going to survive.
Salves up. Feeling pretty happy. Again, having a lot of impact in that lane. Do like that. Saberlight, again, he's having a much better time in the Visage. He's showing off what can get done when you can constantly dish that damage out. There's just no play here for Miposhka. He goes for a charge. He's going to get Grave Chilled up. Loses a lot of movement speed. He can't really just run up and right-click trade up against 2 ranged heroes either.
Fly's going to go down top lane. Mira will hand the tip back the way of Fly. Meanwhile, mid, rotations coming in from Crit. Lal already backing off at the right moment. Abed not even bothering to try for the Dragon Tail. Just didn't see the real opening as top lane Arteezy. He has been left alone. Miposhka's rotated. Arteezy is down. No support incoming to help out.
That's the kill you want. That's the kill you need. Just slow down the Dusa. Try to buy space for the Morphling to have farm parity, or at least, or even a lead if possible. And just apply that pressure, finally leaving the lane Miposhka does. As, again, he's really doing nothing bot. They are camping mid here, though, with Abed and Crit. trying to get that push going.
Yeah, charge does connect onto the Dragon Knight. But of course, going to be more than tanky enough to get through this. Is Maposhka now the one in danger, but a nice Sonic Wave from Lyle stopping the blast off follow-up. Maposhka is still trying to juke through the tree line. Actually makes it out. Instead, they will focus on Lyle, but Lyle will jump back in onto crit. Lee's finding himself a lion. And the Spirit Breaker, he has made it. Abed's still trying to snipe him with the Breathe Fire, but it's not going to be enough.
Some sick jukes out from Maposhka. Really good angle in the back line. They don't find a DK kill, but you know what? You don't mind finding crit right now. You just need everything you can take on the side of Team Spirit, considering this much more even start. So they're feeling good about that. Great rotations out from Team Spirit. Collapse up top, though.
Does get caught. Fly with a nice blast off initiation. No helping coming for Collapse. He's going to just try and fight back by himself. And she does do a decent job of it because Fly is now being charged. But Collapse does go down. Very, very nice pick off here for Shopify Rebellion. There's Maposhka rushing through. Actually, the sticky bomb, though, going to land.
That's
so
slow.
Maposhka's having to do this a very slow way. Jumps in, looking for a bash. Not actually going to go for it. But Mirror will get it done. Instead, now Mirror going to be in trouble. Mirror's being chased, and Mirror looks like he is set to fall. So I suppose you gave an even bigger kill away now, as Mirror could not juke them out. It's easy to take the kill. Perhaps not worth the charge in.
Definitely not. A little bit of a fiesta up top. More than happy on Archer to find that kill for himself. Good wards to watch here as well from Shopify Rebellion. To see these stacks being built up, they can contest later on. Stacks still being formed up by Collapse, so we'll see if they can contest. It does feel like the triangle stacks and Radiant are a little bit harder to invade down bot, though. Saberlight, just a little bit of a chase.
The Grave Chill is going to be enough to get his way out of that one. Still a very even game between these two teams. Slight net worth lead to Shopify Rebellion. Even with the couple deaths that the Medusa has had, he's still having a pretty damn good times in net worth. Just top of the net worth board at the moment. It's in some weird way, it's a similar situation to last game, but not so much. Saberlight, bottom lane. It looks like they were going to try and go for a charge onto the Visage, but they decide better of it. And now Shopify around. Yatoro, oh, what a charge! Maposhka! I mean, was that even on purpose?
I believe it might have been. I think it was. He was charging onto a different target as well, so he saw the angle out.
Familiar.
Yeah, onto the familiar. And timing just lines up, giving Yatoro that space. Still under threat, but not as much. You are seeing Abed start to switch gears here, though.
Yeah, he's moving his way down bot. I mean, you've got the dragon form available. Let's spike out. Yatoro. Hex up. He's got the strength morph going. He should be safe for at least a little bit longer, but the perma stun coming. Not quite enough. Maposhka able to stop Abed from going for the dragon tail. Shows it never comes out. And so Shopify, they are unable to commit to the kill completely. But they can commit to this bottom tier 1 at least.
Again, they're playing through their strengths in push. Trying to shrink this map as fast as they can to prevent that arms buildup by Yatoro. Should be able to find it, no contest. Maposhka really can't get too much done here on the Spirit Breaker. And we'll just sneak away with it. No counter push coming out from Team Spirit elsewhere. And he's still farming up with the Collapse. He does have the Dominator up, is rushing into that Overlord timing, and he does have the stacks to fall back to. The one thing you'll need now on Team Spirit, some good defensive wards. You can't allow Yatoro to be jumped up by the Visage. He can't be scouted out by these familiars. It's just a massive risk with how much jump Shopify Rebellion do have on hand. Abed is going for a little bit of a greedier play, trying to scale up in the DK, going for the Midas, which I do think is the more preferable route on the DK. Something like Midas over a Blink Rush, maybe even like a Midas Manta. But Ultra Greed smoke out here, though.
Mid lane, Abed will be the target. Mirror will get the lift up. Abed cops the roll, charge in as well, and there's just no protecting him. They might try to punish Shopify, but there's 3 heroes in the mid, and I don't think they have enough to really turn this fight back around. Spirit now with the siege creep up, they're going to start pushing in through the mid wave. Plenty of units here from Collapse to abuse this tier 1 mid tower with. Tier 1's just gone. There's no protecting it. There's now the Nether Strike. Maposhka landing onto the Visage with the charge to boot. It's too much for Saberlight to deal with.
Much too much. Not respecting that chain control coming out here from Team Spirit with a stolen Earth Spike as well from Mira. And the equalized map control. Arguably still a little bit better coming out for Team Spirit with a mid as they are invading the top jungle. A lot easier. And they can start to apply that pressure. Arteezy still left alone on the Dusa though, and that's all that matters here for Shopify Rebellion. The Manta style timing for Arteezy not too far off. Should have more stats to play with, although it's still susceptible to that burst, but not under major threat yet. Yatoro inching towards the Lincolns into the Ags. Until that Ags is up, your threat on the Dusa isn't as big. You really do need a stat steal to make this Dusa a lot squishier. Not quite to that point yet, but again, this is not a simple game for, sit back and farm and scale for the Dusa. It's not a straightforward matchup at all for this hero up against Morph.
Is under attack. Dire's top tower has fallen.
Fly. Chased down by Poshka. Charge is going to land. Another strike out up to Fly, and he's got no chance of escaping. Meanwhile, top lane, Arteezy. Yatoro and Collapse end up taking down the Dusa. Arteezy going down a third time this game. And it seems like they're onto the tier 2 top tower now as bottom lane. A jump is there. They've at least found Lyle, and they should have the Quap. So not the worst trade in the world for Shopify Rebellion. But Poshka forgot to press the S button, I think. Does not cancel the charge out, and he's giving another kill away.
Yeah, it's a freebie coming out for Shopify Rebellion now. Managing that the flank onto Laurel. This is the line without the blink. So once Crit has that, it's a much simpler process than getting that lockdown onto something like Flop here. Saberlight really starting to pop off for the Solar Crest up. Just camping a lane, applying that pressure. All of Shopify Rebellion looking a lot sharper in this early game. Although Laurel is on the hunt, but doesn't really have the follow-through control to look for that kill. Your concerns for the side of Team Spirit are still with the fact that, again, you haven't really contested Arteezy as much outside of laning kills. He's still free farming in that jungle up top. You're not using Hawk Vision to hunt him down. It doesn't feel like you're ready to face square off against that Dusa, which is always a little bit strange when it's still relatively early in the game. You don't have that much stats on Arteezy, but I'm sure they're more worried about the response from Shopify Rebellion. They just want to play the safe game. Shopify Rebellion, for their part, again, really good warding coming out. And that's been something that's consistent. They have good wards watching that bot lane entirely. So they know when a support's camping, looking for farm, they can always punish. And they have a rough idea as to where side of Team Spirit's farming up. Because they don't see the course down bot, so they expect it in the triangle. And perhaps up top, they can just play a little bit safer in those areas. And just not give any openings so far. Much more even back and forth here this time.
Yeah, 1k advantage for Spirit is still standing. Toro. Another Lincoln Sphere up in just a moment. Shopify Rebellion. You've got the blink up on Arbet, so they might be able to make some plays off this. Got that instant initiation now with the Dragon Knight. It is on the courier, that is. They'll start with the mid-tier 1 tower. Dragon Form will get that done. And Team Spirit, they do glyph and they actually rotate a couple heroes around, so it looks like they are going to slow this down just a little bit, but the jump is there onto Lal. Earth Spike to follow. He's in big trouble. The Quap is barely going to go down. Almost making it out. Though not quite. The team on mid tower. It will melt. Shopify, they'll take that easily. But in the meantime, Roshan has begun. Team Spirit are just casually taking Roshan with Collapse and Yatoro.
Yeah. Not the fastest Roshan in the world, but they are getting a lot of space out, although Shopify Rebellion, they know this is happening. Mass TPs up top.
I mean, there was no defense. They know so. Oh, Abed. He blinked into the right time, but he does not pick up the Aegis. Yatoro has got it. They might catch Collapse for their trouble. And it seems like Collapse is set to fall, but he might roar before he does go down. In fact, roar was already committed. Never mind. Instead, they'll move in for the fight. Crit is down. Onto Saberlight they go. A big Sonic Wave. Arbed getting caught by that taboo. Arbed still trying to fight. Is eventually going to fall. It's 3 down for Shopify. Make it a 4th. Fly is gone. Arteezy the only one left trying to Giga Chat it up against 4 heroes. But it is not enough damage for Arteezy. A full team wipe.
Well, team wipe. That's Yatoro without a single point in Morph, Mike. He's just standing there as the Morphling.
Yikes.
He doesn't even need to turn into anyone else. He doesn't have the stats steal, so why bother? Shopify Rebellion, they get a good read onto that Roche. They force the issue, not stealing the Aegis for Abed. I mean, it's a really hard one to time. Faster fingers coming out for Team Spirit. It was a massive risk. Like, they just find that win down mid. They want to ensure that Team Spirit don't have any openings, so they contest, but they bleed out so much. 4K lead coming out from Team Spirit now. The Ags for Yatoro, still 3 parts away. Still only about, well, almost 2 parts away, so halfway through. Well, once this Morphling hits Ags timing, like, I mean, that was him without morphing into Dusa. You know, that's him without stealing stats. What happens after that?
Oh, top lane, Fly. Gonna end up going down to the techies. Both side lanes being pressured now by Team Spirit.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Shopify Rebellion now 4K behind, nowhere near out of this game yet, but this is that point where the Medusa does not feel very good against the Morphling because the Ag's timing is coming. Sure, you're building up a Skadi on Arteezy, but I question how much it's going to matter in a game like this as the charge is out immediately. They want the Dusa. Sableye is around to help out. Arteezy's already lost half his HP, but he's going to go for the Stone Gaze, trying to catch Yatoro. Will not be able to petrify him up yet. The blast off is out, but he got the strength morph in time, so the perma-stun's incoming. They'll get the Aegis down. That is 1 life, but they've committed everything for this, so Collapse is going to jump in. Arteezy's been caught already. The Medusa is completely out of mana, just trying to walk out of this, but the lift from Mira gonna lock him down. You got the Aegis, but you couldn't get your position 1 out. Not the best of trades here for Shopify.
Certainly not. Just all in on trying to stop Yatoro, but not respecting, again, the saves, the stall outs coming out. Team Spirit, the left backs from Mira, the angles being found for these big sonic waves from Laurel, catch multiple heroes. Shopify Rebellion. They need a lot more in the tank here before they can start running. The Skadi has to come through from Arteezy just for the stat padding. You need a BKB ready from Abed so you can stand up front much more confidently. Otherwise, the solutions are there from Team Spirit. They are TPing up top. They could try to punish Mira here. They saw him D-ward, but not even going to jump to Rubik. No one there to back Mira up, but he's just free to go.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, I mean, they'll just take their time.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire scanning. Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Spirit. Keep all the lanes pushed out. Shopify Rebellion. Looking for an answer, I think, here in this game number 2.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Has not been, the draft has not been working the way they would have intended, I'm sure. Now on a Crimson Guard to come from Collapse to make matters even worse for Shopify Rebellion. All of that damage you were dealing is just going to be nullified completely, as we are going to see a smoke with a double damage on Abed.
Radiant are
They'll head down
scanning.
towards the bottom lane where Mira is hanging about. Scouting out Arteezy on the Medusa. Will now reveal his position. Down towards the south, Lowell may get caught in the quap. X is instantaneous from crit. They've locked him down long enough, I think, here to take him out, and they have. Nice pick off for Shopify Rebellion. Finding the Queen of Pain. Mira's still actually hanging around that pot lane
A free smoke.
as well.
Mira finds a free smoke.
Very nice.
Did he drop that smoke, or did R2 drop it from his backpack?
Won't matter. Crit ends up catching the Ruby. Mira should really have no way out. He'll try for a TP, but the blast off is out from Fly. That'll be Mira down.
It's a little bit funny. Maybe he dropped it on his way out to try to bait, but no one bites the bait, so he walks back, picks it up, gets punished this time. Inside of Team Spirit. Dropping up the kills, not the biggest. He could argue losing Laurel is a pretty big deal, but it doesn't feel like the Quap's really what you want to nail with your combination coming out from Shopify Rebellion. It really has to be the morph. Speaking of, Yatoro has the full Ags up going into the BKB. Once the BKB is up, then that chain control from Crit's not going to land in the same way. And you can start stealing the Medusa stats, just become the better Dusa here in the middle. Doesn't quite have the Scotty to really get that into full effect, but you are at the point where, again, the Morphling is going to be your major concern here on Shopify.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Well, top T2 tower now under siege.
Dire's top tower has
There it
fallen.
goes. Easily being taken out by Team Spirit. Take the outpost while they're at it. Ag's now available on Lal. So even more damage coming in through the Shadow Strike now. It's Shopify Rebellion. They're going to find an Arcane Rune on Lal to boot, so even better timing now for Team Spirit to try and get a fight going. Crit and Fly going to break the smoke of Yatoro, immediately blinking away. Poshka actually finds a charge on Arteezy. They've got the big target. Shopify, they're backing off, but the Medusa's been caught. But it seems as though Poshka's actually not going to chase him down. Maybe just trying to find the back of Shopify. Arteezy puts the hands up, waves him goodbye. And Team Spirit, surprisingly again, just not willing to try for the Medusa.
Yeah, maybe understanding that there's no way Arteezy would be this far forward for the nth time without his team, surely. So they respect the counterplay from Shopify Rebellion. They were right. You know, they're hanging around the area still. But Arteezy's still alone. He's fully alone now, under vision.
Poshka will scout this out. Yeah, the strike's gonna land. Charges there, locking him down as long as possible. There's your morph from Yatoro now with the Ags up. So they have caught Lal again on the Queen of Pain. That's a big deal. Lal needs a way out. A big blast off from Crit holding him down. Lal is still alive though. He did manage to blink away. Instead, however, Yatoro now being targeted by Poshka with a nice charge, putting an end to it. Is Yatoro, he'll turn around and fight back, doing a great job of it. He's full mana. The Sonic Wave gonna fly up, but he is gone.
Oh, the stolen
Mirror
finger.
will finger him down. Shopify, they need to get the hell out of here. This is not a team fight. Arteezy caught. Earth Spike from Crit trying to help, but they are just getting slaughtered. The Medusa's gone. Another lost team fight for Shopify Rebellion. They try their absolute best here to fight around their minds. The Team Spirit, they will wipe them once again.
That was dicey as well coming out for Spirit. They jump forward, really good stuns coming out from Shopify. Get them to chain control off with Saberlight and the Familiars, just not enough. You know, like, what do you do about this Morphling once he steals 20% of all of your stats for some reason? You know, it's like he gets so much tankier. He's very hard to contend with, and you don't have instant bursts. You know, you have level 1 finger on Crit. He's not even level 12. He's not able to look for the burst play follow-up. I mean, sure, you have some additional damage, but yeah, the cooldown's long, so your uptime isn't that great. And it's harder and harder to melt down his heroes now coming out from Team Spirit. You have no solutions for Yatoro, and that was probably the best circumstance for Shopify as well. Getting the blast-off chain stun with the Familiars into a Morphling with no BKB. Now that the BKB is coming out, I don't know if you'll ever find any opening now, unless Yatoro is severely misplaced somehow. Like, it doesn't feel like you can handle the big old water 1 polygon boy.
It doesn't feel like it. Not right now, it doesn't. At least Team Spirit is still paying respect to Shopify and not going too wild here. Charge out on Crit. He will blink away. Hex is out in time. Maposhka actually ends up on the high ground. But he'll be able to just charge away later. Spirit. Maybe looking for the next Roshan before they try to go high ground. Mid lane. We'll see Maposhka again, but unable to catch the man. And Maposhka's going to have his own halberd up soon, so that makes life even tougher for this Dusa. You don't have any other cores that can carry the game for you. It is all the eggs in the Medusa basket. Head down bottom. See if they can try for the tier 2 bottom tower instead. I mean, Abed is getting to the stage where he's working for the Aghanim Scepter, I guess, so he could turn into that big scaling kind of core with that ancient black dragon. While that's happening, Team Spirit, they are currently just waiting for Roshan. Collapse has scattered this out. His team is making their way over. Shopify, they could try to get through the twin gates, but it seems like it is going to take a bit of time for that to happen. And they may just let Roshan go the way of Team Spirit for free.
It's a risky play to sneak through there. They've got the one stolen Techie Mice, giving them some information here on Team Spirit. And Roche does fall pretty damn fast. They'll just trade the objective. Tier 2 for Roche. Team Spirit more than happy with that, as they're the ones to gate instantly across here.
Abed will blink away, seeing them incoming. Team Spirit desperate to try and find a straggler here. Might run into crit.
Abed's still there.
Jump in. They found Abed. That's an even better target. The Mid-Dragon Knight is going to get bursted down by Yatoro. So have a look around for more. Shopify do basically get everyone else out of there. It's only really like Fire that was left behind on the techies, and he'll creep skip the bottom lane. But Spirit, they might just go high ground now. With the Aegis Cheese up, there's not really much in the way of stopping them.
Yeah. Just dive in deep. Nothing to stop them from getting all of this information out. You've got protection now. Up for Laurel. BKB up and running on the Quap. Just needs to fly out. Heck, they use the ult just to kill the courier off of Arteezy, and that is the Eagle song gone, so you're really not comfy. You're not doing enough damage on Dedusa. Your butterfly is still a long ways off now. At the very least, it's nowhere near being completed, so the courier being on cooldown doesn't hurt, but just lacking that extra stats feels painful for Dedusa, as you need every single bit of damage you can get, and you're just not getting enough. It's not, especially with Yator around, with the threat of the morph. One more objective to go. Bot tier 2, mid more than likely coming up next, if not the high ground. And the side of Shopify Rebellion, 15k behind. You're banking on scaling with Dedusa and DK, and again, it just doesn't feel like you're finding that here.
No, you certainly are not yet. But Poshka, at top lane, they could think about a jump on him, but he's just going to walk away. AC now up on Collapse to make matters worse for Shopify. So even more defense from the off-lane of Spirit against this Medusa. It's going to start feeling like Arteezy's just doing no damage. Tier 2 tower going to go down for free. Team Spirit, they can start moving into the tier 3 tower pretty easily with the Aegis up. For the morph on the Deucer if they can. Last off is out. Glimmer KP is going to take off pretty much all of that damage. Lal will jump in, fly, being targeted, immediately taken out. The charge from Aposhka will get it done. Tier 3 tower, almost gone. Yatoro onto the mid-ranks now. Seems like he'll get away with this one pretty single-handedly. A crit is at least going to jump in for an Earth Spike and maybe a Hex. He just can't commit, and Arteezy's just not here. Like, he's farming right now, trying to get towards that butterfly. Not interested in defending because he knows he really can't at the moment. Spirit will just move in for more. They're on to Saberlight now, and the Visage just gets destroyed.
Just like that.
Tier 3 bottom tower. Not looking like it'll last too long.
Look at that universal type steal, Mike. 3k HP on Yatoro.
Very nice. Arteezy losing half his mana already. Charge through onto Fly. Lal will be protected. Saberlight will be respawning. Does move back in with a buyback. Poshka has been caught by a blast off, but is so tanky. Everyone on Spirit are just so damn tanky. Nobody is dying. Sonic Wave comes out, killing off Fly. He'll buy back immediately as Lal is still just casually jumping in with his BKB up. There's just no fear. They'll use the Stone Gaze on Arteezy, but it literally petrifies nobody. Yatoro is still going. Butterfly now available on Arteezy. Charge out again from Aposhka, cancelled by the Hex of Crit. The Mystic Snake, starting up quite a few of them on Shopify. Lal's gonna jump in for the Shadow Strikes again. Arthur's trying his best to do some form of damage. But with the Crimson Guard up, nobody's taking damage.
No. Nobody is. It's just a little bit of a tickle. Take 2 racks here on the side of Team Spirit. They force out a ton of buybacks. Aegis will expire in half a minute. So maybe that opening onto the last set of racks, not quite there. And they will need an MKB to come out in Yatoro to just kind of handle that too. So although he's still queuing up the Daedalus right now. You can see if he does just kind of want to go all in, it doesn't feel like the impact is there at all for Artur. Like, one stolen Dusa form, and suddenly you're dealing with the Mystic Snakes bouncing around, stunning you up. If they get the Shard out with the Tormentor down the line here for Yatoro, then when you cast spells on the Morphous, well, it will bounce back. Like, it's an atrocious feeling for Shopify Rebellion to have to play against the Medusa, having the Medusa themselves. Jeez, just breaks the smoke.
Yeah, he literally just charges in and breaks all their smokes. And they can't even catch him. Abed's trying his best to reach for the Dragon Tail. But Poshka just so quick. Hasn't even used Bulldoze yet. There you go. And he'll just charge away. Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness.
What do you do?
I don't know, if you're Shopify Rebellion, you must feel pretty bad about that one.
Jump in Lal. We're doing a black crit. Really quick pick off here onto crit. Buyback is available. Arteezy though, he tried a TP. He gets caught. Half mana gone, full mana about gone now for Arteezy. He's getting taken out.
Oh my god.
Sonic Wave to connect. No buyback available. There goes Saberlight. Fly to be chased down a bird, but they are just falling apart. Shopify Rebellion as they call GG. No, not even a draw for them. They will lose 2-0 to Team Spirit. And props to Spirit John taking nothing away from these boys. They played fantastic here in this series. Deserving of a 2-0 victory against Shopify Rebellion. Shopify, you know, not looking the cleanest.
No, certainly not. They had some ideas in the draft. Their shake-up here for Saberlight into the Visage looked like it could work out early on, but they fall back to the Dusa. They go into this Abed DK, just a stable mid, but not something that play makes. Whereas on the side of Team Spirit, you had a lot of opportunities to play make and Laurel. Sure, he dies a few times. He manages to find a jump in the back line quite a fair bit. You have even Maposhka who can do some fancy tricks. You have Yatoro who can weave in and out, and you just don't have that sort of play opportunity from any of the heroes in Shopify. It's all about coming out with strong lanes, just crushing by very basic execution, and even that doesn't really line up here. In Team Spirit, it did look like Shopify Rebellion earlier on. Found a couple of openings, you know, crushing the supports, finding some kills on Miposhka. It felt like the Spirit Breaker in the first 10 minutes of the game had no real impact, but in the end, even with that kind of start, as long as Yatoro farmed up, what were you ever going to do about this Morphling? Like, sure, theoretically, a blink online, yeah, hex him up, finger him down, it's fine. Once Lincoln's is up, that combo is a lot harder to pull off. And then just the direct core to core, it's Morphling into a Dusa, it's Morphling into a Universal hero. It's like, the Morphling will just win. You know, you don't have a Morphling counter, Dusa's not it.
No, it certainly wasn't. I mean, they tried something here for Shopify Rebellion, but it doesn't pan out the way they anticipated at first, it seems. And well, again, props to Team Spirit, Jonathan, who do pull off a 2-0 victory here against Shopify Rebellion. Again, very well deserving. They look very clean in this series. Nothing to take away from the boys. And that does mean we get to move into our next series, I believe, between Bleed and EG for the D stream. So that should be a bit of fun, I'm sure.
It's going to be a bit painful for me to watch, my god. EG, to be fair, haven't been doing so hot either, but well, we'll talk about it when the series comes up, because I'm not sure if you saw, but Winter always has words here, so I'll quote Winter a couple of times.
Well,
yes,
what's Winter got to do with anything, John?
Well, he loves Bleed, Mike. He's a big Bleed believer, if you believe it or not. Yes, he is. Okay. He'd bleed himself dry for that team, for sure.
Okay. Well, with that, Jonathan, we are going to head to a break. But before that break, of course, shout out to BizNet, our official internet partner in the Bali Major 2023. Hashtag #PakeBizNet and be a champion. With that, though, we are going to head off to a very short break. And right after that break, we'll be back with game number 1 between Bleed and Evil Geniuses. We'll see you soon.
skills in the gaming. 1xBet.
Semua bisa jadi nyata dengan upgrade wifi rumahmu pakai Biznet
Nah,
Home.
ini baru internet rumah buat orang-orang terdepan. Mimpi kecil bisa jadi besar. Dan kamu juga bisa mendunia. Jadi, siap wujudkan semua jadi nyata?
Panas. Ini oven nih. Hai. Ya kelar. Wih. Nah ini Sukroven si paling seru. Mau gini seru. Mau gitu seru woy. Mau lagi? Lagi. Terus aja lagi. Sukroven seru roll di oven.
The world is your stage. Take the first step to change. Lead with vision and innovation. Perfect your strategy and make your goals reality. Get in the game. Make it count.
Use your skills in the gaming. 1xBet.
Semua bisa jadi nyata dengan upgrade wifi rumahmu pakai Biznet
Nah,
Home.
ini baru internet rumah buat orang-orang terdepan. Mimpi kecil bisa jadi besar. Dan kamu juga bisa mendunia. Jadi, siap wujudkan semua jadi nyata?
Panas. Ini oven nih. Hai. Ya kelar. Wih. Nah ini Sukroven si paling seru. Mau gini seru. Mau gitu seru woy. Mau lagi? Lagi, terus aja lagi. Sukroven seru roll di oven.
The world is your stage. Take the first step to change. Lead with vision and innovation. Perfect your strategy and make your goals reality. Get in the game. Make it count.
Use your skills in the gaming. 1xBet.
Back, we are going to our second series of the day. It is, of course, going to be Bleed up against Evil Geniuses. And it is MLP Dota and John X5 joining you once again. John, welcome back. So how the hell are you doing?
Doing great, Mike. Chugged down some sinigang and barbecue in 7 minutes. So that was a very good record for that short break. Had my lunch, energized up to watch our bottom two teams in the group. This is going to be a rough showing. EG has, I believe at this point, no real chance of climbing up. This is your last series. Even a win here, I don't see a scoreline of 1-11 really bringing you anywhere right now for the side of Evil Geniuses. So it's more on Bleed perhaps to get motivated to wake up and try to climb out. They still have an opportunity with 3 series left. So down to them to try to get things all together as we do take a look at those standings. Again, EG at 1-11, Bleed 4-6. I don't see EG climbing out, Mike. This is their last series here.
I mean, I think it's it's not exactly very highly likely, but it seems as though they might still have potential chances
I mean,
of making it through.
Even if they get a 2-0 here, wouldn't that put them at 3-11? So Bleed already has 4 wins, right? That it's theoretically impossible to climb up.
I suppose so. We'll have to wait and see, Jonathan. I have no idea. I suppose you are correct. I mean, the scorelines don't make sense even if they do get a 2-0 victory, but we'll have to wait and see. There's the standings coming out. Of course, Bleed probably much more interested in getting the win here against Evil Geniuses to give themselves a proper chance at still having a chance at this major. Of course, it is not their last series either here for Bleed, because they do have one against Nine Pandas tomorrow. So they do have another one today as well. Bet Boom is later on. So they've got 3 more series if you count this one for Bleed. So it's still plenty of opportunities for them. But like you said, Evil Geniuses, well, it's not their last series because they do have Gaming Gladiators up last. Which is probably why they still have a chance at pulling off a bit of a comeback here in the group stage standings. But, against Gaming, it's not very high. There's not a very high likelihood you're going to be able to pull off that victory. So I suppose maybe that's how it becomes very unlikely.
I suppose so. I didn't realize they still had to play Gaming. So 2 more series for EG. Very important then for them to find a 2-0 here. Because if they manage to claw their way to a 5-win scoreline, then that's where things get a little bit interesting with, because potentially you see some ties coming out if now LGD or Nine Pandas don't find any wins going forward. There's still opportunities there, but very small opportunities for EG. For Bleed, every win counts as well. Again, 3 series left for them. They've got to find some solid wins here. This is a lineup that I think all of us in Southeast Asia have been expecting to kind of pop off since Tour 2. Kicks in Tour 3 with her coach change onto Misery. A great fella, giving them great insight and good team vibe, but they've had issues, Mike. I'm sure once we can take a look at the team rosters, we can talk a little bit about those issues. I don't want to spoil you. I don't want to leak anything before you see these players on hand, Mike.
Yeah, sure. Should we have a look at the players, perhaps? See exactly who was on what squad? Maybe. Maybe not. Can we have a look at the teams? Yes, we can. Bleed. They're going to have DJ, Corden, Jackie, Ice, and Dubu on their side of things. Again, you've already kind of mentioned it, but they have been struggling quite a bit. So see if they can turn things around. Did you have some problems you wanted to mention here, John, with this side?
You're saying they have problems. They did place #1 in Southeast Asia, so
yeah,
it's like yeah. If they're having problems, the rest of C is in the bin for sure, and that is showing up here. Bleed. I mean, this is a veteran team with veteran players. It just doesn't seem like it clicks. I think that's been my biggest issue with Bleed. They don't coordinate, and Winter, the biggest Corden fan in the world. I'm sure if we could hear him on the main panel, he'll just fire random shots off the Corden for some reason.
That's Winter for you, always taking a shot at somebody. Of course, we do have our other team as well that they're going to be up against Evil Geniuses. We can have a look at their roster as well. Obviously, some handsome lads here from Evil Geniuses. You've already kind of mentioned it, John. They are in a bit of a struggle right now with only 1 game win so far. Looking for their 2nd game win here today up against Bleed. Let's see if they can make it happen. Because they are still in the running to try and climb their way through the groups. But they've got to beat 2 teams, preferably with a 2-0 victory. The second one being Gaming Gladiators later on tonight. So it's not an easy path for them through these groups. But they can start with Bleed at least. Arguably the easier opponent. And see if they can try to get themselves a nice victory here first.
Yeah, we can see it's rather surprising to see EG underperform this way. Again, maybe it's down to a little bit of that stomach flu we've been seeing from Matthew. Maybe that's been affecting just how the team plays, but it certainly has had a lot of impact on the entirety. And we can take a look at how well these teams play up against each other, of course, as we do have the draft on hand. So we can take a look at what both sides are kind of building up here. The Pugna, the Techies being banned out by the side of EG. Bleed taking care of that Timbersaw and Broodmother. Showing a lot of respect for some of the offlane flexibility that Whisper does enjoy pumping out here. I'm wondering what sort of heroes we get sliding out, because the one thing with Bleed is it doesn't feel like there's any hero I can call like signature heroes. Ice with his versatile offlane hero pool, I suppose, is one of the more interesting players to watch out for. He still runs stuff like Abaddon offlane, stuff like that, although not post-nerf, but he used to be one of those players who would go into Abaddon off and go for a Dominator or something like that. So you've got Ice with his eclectic hero pool.
Let's see. I mean, they do have the. I was about to say they don't have the timber. They don't have the Broodmother either. So Bleed. First pick. They're going to prioritize the Shadow Demon pick up here for themselves. Not a hero you and I have got to see very often throughout the major games we've casted so far, but well, there it is. Bleed do prioritize.
Yeah, this is something that we've seen DJ play a lot of. Some flex as well for Dubu if necessary to run on pause 5, but DJ with the farm tends to hit that Ag's timing pretty well, tends to have his shard, gets farm prioritization, so I don't mind this too much. I think a Shadow Demon is a pretty good way to foil any sort of big hero pickups as well for EG on the safe lane. Stuff like the Pakas heroes tend to feel pretty good when you can take your illusions, make some illusions of them for yourself. So I like this way of going around it for the side of Bleed. It is within comfort. I'm wondering what the side of EG will want to do about that here. What do they have left? They have an Undying they can fall back to if they want that. For someone like Matthew here. They've got the Rubik, pretty good spell to steal from that Shadow Demon. Silencers on hand. It's still pretty wide to open up here.
That it is. They'll have a think about it here, Evil Geniuses. Have a good think about it.
Evil Geniuses turn heel.
The Morphling, of course, was left alone, so they'll just go ahead and take that for themselves into the Enigma. Enigma has been rearing its head here and there. It does pop up once again. More importantly, though, they do get the Morphling, which has been arguably the most contested carry in the whole of the Bali major group stages thus far. And arguably the strongest carry in the game right now.
It's a hard hero to shove away. It's a hard hero to find an answer for. Bleed could try for the AA, but frankly, with Shadow Demons to support, that doesn't sound like a very strong combo. I suppose you have a cold feet setup, but it's like you're not going to do anything in a wide AoE. You're going to lack control. You're going to lack BKB piercing control for the Enigma. So I don't know if you really want something like that. They'll just go with the Doom here. So a straightforward here for Ice 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 on the off lane. I say that, but I do recall DJ playing a support Doom at some point, so I suppose there's some flex, but seeing your safe lane matchup, you'd likely just run it off. That should be Ice's hero. But you can never count the madness of Mr. Daryl out. Of course, sometimes he just says, I don't want to play Doom anymore. DJ, play it. I'm going to pick something crazy for last pick.
Yeah. At least he does do a decent job against the Enigma at least, so they kind of have the answer towards that. More bans to come out. This is where you start seeing Evil Geniuses banning out all the position 1s that do well against the Morphling, so you're probably going to see the AM get banned, the Jug get banned. I don't know if you really bother banning Medusa, because we just saw last series, the Morphling deals with the Medusa quite easily. I think AM Jug are definitely the scarier carries to have to go up against here as the Morph, but for now they actually get rid of the Pangolier, so not bothering with the counters yet.
I'm keeping it open. I think right now you're just looking to take away Cordon's Hero Puddle, and you know, I mean, you've probably gotten the hint as to what Winter loves, or what Winter finds the hardest part about Bleed. Cordon has just been underperforming for what feels like 2 tours. I think Tour 1 was pretty okay. Tour 2 was a bit rough. Tour 3 was equally as rough, if not worse. It's just that the rest of the team have picked up the slack, but that is one of his best heroes, the Pango. And his next best hero is like the Ember, which you can kind of manage with a Morph. You don't mind that. They'll take care of the Naga instead of Jackie. Wondering if they'll ban out the PL or the Faceless Void. I think those are the 2 viable options for Bleed to get into, if not maybe a Slark. Although a Slark can be hit or miss up against a Morph, depending on how long you can actually last in those fights. I would prefer something like the Jackie Faceless Void if possible, but you don't have the damage to tie in just yet into the Chrono, so that can be concerning.
Final ban out for Bleed. Still focusing on support ban outs here. Undying, Bounty, both removed. 1 more to go for Bleed.
You want a fun fact, Mike?
What's that, John?
I'll give you a fun fact. Jackie still stays in touch with good old Alphon from Boom. They still talk.
Very good.
Yeah, and Alphon still calls him his dog. For some reason. Just still his dog, you know? I'm sure they miss each other. Well, maybe Jackie doesn't miss Boom as much, considering if this is the bin Boom is in the dumpster right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I do miss that old Boom squad. It's good old days.
I'm sure they all miss each other.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Evil Genius's final ban out to come.
5 seconds.
They got rid of the Naga Siren. Do they want to get rid of the AM or the Jug? And the AM, I personally don't think it's that big of a deal, but we have seen a lot of teams just banning it out against Morphling. I think the Jug's a bit scarier, but they're just going to get rid of the Drow instead.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I think Drow's a very interesting counter to Morph because he doesn't ever build any plus armor, so you just pierce right through. They go to Clockwork Pick on EG as well, so covering the base of the Enigma, ensuring that there's no piercing long-range stun. That kind of counteracts your Enigma here, and it gives you a pretty nice aggressive lane. Now, mind you, Clockwork hasn't been the most successful hero of the patch. It has kind of faded in obscurity for most regions, but you are a specialist here for Matthew. This is probably one of his best heroes, if I recall right. So, shouldn't be too off the mark for EG. Bleed straight into the Storm for Corden, so he's within his realm here. Spirit Brothers does come out. One of the Spirit Brothers do come out. And it doesn't look like that bad of a Storm game. You don't have the hardest lockdown coming in from EG. I'm wondering what the mid matchup will be from Chris Luck, though. Like, there are still a lot of mids left. They'll get the Rubik now for Bleed. So you've got your Shadow Demon Rubik support duo. You've got some saves on hand. You can steal the Black Hole, which can be your counter now. So maybe not the smoothest of times here for Whisper to try to maximize it off lane. But you always have the off chance of just running a support for Enigma. A very remote small chance, but it is possible.
There's the puck pick up here from Evil Geniuses now. Just against the Storm, we do see the puck come out often enough. Just a very nice counter towards that Storm Spirit. And how they finish things off, like Bleed is still lacking a position 1 here for Jackie. You do still have that big Medusa available, though I highly doubt that's the road you want to go down. AM also still there if they want that, and we have seen Jackie been playing quite a bit of AM throughout the major, but I don't think it's been too much success. Using all this reserve time for this final ban out.
Evil Geniuses turn to ban.
They can get rid of the Darkseer here for Evil Geniuses' end of things. It's believing they are looking at a support Enigma, which I imagine it should be. Don't necessarily want to play the core Enigma against the Doom, I don't think.
Yeah, it's not the comfiest. Again, with a Rubik there as well. There's a lot of threat coming out. I'm not a big fan of Enigma support either. I think its laning is just
10 seconds
weird. I don't know if you can really maximize that depending on what we get for Whisper off.
5 seconds
I suppose he has a couple of options. Batrider is still available if they don't ban it out here, and I guess Batrider into Shadow Demon's already pretty iffy, but for lane at the very least, it's pretty alright. The catch potential down the line for the Storm is pretty nice. Again, you have to worry about the Shadow Demon. Ban out the Beastmaster as well. So again, just taking quite a fair bit of the Whisper heroes left in the off. I'm wondering what Jackie will get to play. Like PL, the illusion heroes are gone. The natural, sort of a quote-unquote natural counter to Morphling's gone. With the Drow as well. I suppose it's either Slark, Ursa, or Faces Void that you go into here for Jackie. Mind you, again, Faces Void here, you don't have the best damage to dish out in Chrono. Well, they'll take out the Elk, so I suppose Slark, TB, Ursa, or Faces Void for Jackie. Those are the only options you have left.
Final pickup now for Bleed. The Jackie hero to come out.
10 seconds remaining.
And you have AM as well.
5 seconds remaining.
But as you mentioned, like, it can't fall flat. But Jackie was a prolific AM player on his
He
Motivate
was.
Trust days. And the good old disassembly player. So, maybe, but I'm with you on that one.
the
It's
hero hasn't
not the
looked
biggest
good.
fan. Yeah.
Evil Geniuses turn to pick Medusa.
Oh,
They're
no.
gonna go down the Medusa route.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he's a Medusa specialist, but against the Morphling, it just never feels good.
No. Certainly doesn't. If you've got enough lockdown here, hell, even in lane, right? If you're running the clockwork on off lane
10
somehow,
seconds remaining.
just run down and cogs, and what does the Dusa do? No, you just melt her mana every time. You spam that spell out. You run into Dusa, just cogs push back every single time. Early on, that is significant damage to her because of her mana shield. So, I know about the Dusa. Theoretically, again, there's no hard counters here from EG. You don't have the best of hold. You don't have the best mana burn coming through. You can kind of figure out what you want for a Whisper here. The Medusa can answer the Enigma Eidolons quite nicely if they were expecting the offlane Enigma, but they were banning out for offlanes anyway. Maybe expecting, again, as a support Enigma, you still go Eidolons, which is fair. But, I don't know, like, we've seen this before, Mike. We saw it in the last series. And that was Shopify Rebellion playing Dedusa into the Morphling. For Bleed, I don't know if my confidence is any higher.
No. Let's see. I mean, final pickup for Evil Genius is still lacking what appears to be an offlane. Alright, they're gonna get down the Lycan round. I like that. So here that can kind of outpace the side of Bleed. There's no answers towards the Lycan this game either. Seems like a pretty strong kind of last pick here for Evil Geniuses, and I mean, I already just like their draft better, quite frankly. Just the Medusa last pick just weirds me out when it's against the Morphling.
Yeah, it's not going to be the smoothest of times for Bleed on Court Core. Again, we've seen Medusa up against Morphling multiple times in the Major, in the DPC. It just doesn't feel good in a lot of those cases. I think this lineup of EG, it has a lot of push. Arguably not enough hold for a Storm, but you do have Dream Coil, which can be enough for you to get that burst window open. There's a lot of pressure here on DJ to get some amazing plays out with his Rubik, get some good steals, turn these team fights around for the side of Bleed. And for Corden to kind of pop off in the Storm. Like, if he can get a fast 6, and he really only needs to worry about the Coil. If you can kind of avoid that on Corden, then theoretically you have a good time here as the Storm. It's just, I'll be frank, I mean, I haven't seen Corden pop off that often.
Right.
So, I don't know if I can confidently say this is the kind of game where he can set up his team for success. I think, again, Bleed, they've got a lot of issues that apparently going into the Major have not been sorted out. So, maybe I'm hoping they prove us wrong. But EG is a very hungry team. We've seen teams pushed with their backs against the wall in their last few games in groups kind of rallying. And I'm sure EG's in that position now to rally into this one.
Well, let's get into it. Game number 1 between Evil Geniuses and Bleed is underway. We can have a look to see exactly how things are going to go.
What a surprise.
See if Corden does end up popping off on this Storm or not. So they will pop a smoke for Bleed. EG will just walk the old-fashioned way, not needing a smoke hit. Bleed look like they're trying to set up for a level 1 team fight already, as they'll head down through the bot lane into the Radiant jungle. So the Evil Genius is not so much interested in that level 1 team fight. They're going to hang around the top side of the map. Pretty standard kind of start here. Just, you know, Radiant goes to the top, Die goes to the bottom. Whether they actually give themselves an opening here on EG's end of things is a different question entirely. You do have Chris Luck around, and Pekaz is there to boot.
30 seconds to battle.
The level 1 timing isn't that amazing either from Bleed, to be absolutely fair. They will get a nice ward down though, by the mid lane. Maybe that's all they wanted. They're going to leave the area anyway. They're not going to stick around on that high ground any longer.
Looks like they might lose more runes, so maybe a 2 for 2, and yeah, alright. EG not going to contest for the Riverside, but they're also not running towards their own Riverside rune, which is rather strange.
They're actually going down bottom. Pekaz, or rather Panda, excuse me, able to pick it up. Pekaz was disrupted throughout all of that. It's actually going to be a 3-for-1 the way of EG. So nobody from Bleed heads up top to secure those bounties. So 3-for-1 start, nice little net worth bonus here to get things started for Evil Geniuses. We are having a look at the top lane, but you are going to see Whisper against Jackie on the Lycan vs Medusa matchup. Of course, Matthew will be there on the Enigma to support. And you're also going to have Dubu moving in as the position 5 Shadow Demon. Pretty passive looking lane though, between these two teams in the off lane. I can't really imagine too many kills happening up top.
Yeah, I'd say it's a little bit more passive for Bleed. I think the side of EG has some aggression once he hits a level 3. If you prioritize Malefice here for Matthew, Enigma actually hits pretty hard. Well, once you get maybe your full wand up, maybe get a couple more grenades up, Malefice chase down can be scary. Doobie's always safe at the very least with Disruption, so it's not going to be too bad. And there is some counterplay, but overall it should lead to farming. And a farming lane here for Dedusa feels pretty nice. You have range advantage, you play with Mystic Snake, you'll clear out these summons once you have some value points in Split Shot. So you're pretty happy overall. And you can even use those summons to line up more damaging bounces onto the heroes if they don't micro properly on EG. Let's see, we're taking a look down bot now with Ice 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 and DJ on the Doom and Rubik up against Panda and Pakaz on the Clockwork Morphling lane. And this one's also, again, pretty straightforward for the Doom. You should just be able to farm up. No threat coming out onto Pakaz. At the same time, Pakaz can't really chase down the Doom. Perhaps once Panda hits his own level 3 timing, that's where that opens up a little bit more. Can chase down, has the Blood Grenade, has a bit of a spell shield with the cogs, and can look for some aggression, but has to respect this early output.
Yeah, certainly so. Panda taking a fair bit of damage is going to go down. Nice pickup here from DJ already on the Rubik, able to secure first blood. Happy days for him. Of course, the Clockwork, maybe just overextending it a little bit too much, does get punished.
Yeah, just trying to get some harass out. He is giving space to Pakaz. I think overall you're more than happy with that. Taking a look at mid, Corden is having a stronger start up against the Puck. I mean, to be fair, the Puck matchup, Puck as a laner overall just feels a lot slower. Now, in most matchups, we see it at least draw even. So this isn't an unexpected result for Corden. I think the one thing I'd like to see from the Storm is whether or not he can get more denies off. Because slowing down that level 6 timing from Chryslok is going to be a big factor here for the Storm. So again, if you can eke out the level advantage, the Storm can pop off quite fast, but at parity, I don't know how much of a threat you can really apply onto the Puck with that early level 6. It doesn't feel like you're going to be able to do as much unless both DJ and Dubu really set up for you.
It's certainly going to be pretty tough. Well, one kill happening across the map so far. Mid lane, see Smile going to be Vortex by Corden, but looks like he wants to go for a bit of a fight. Very, very even mid lane matchup thus far. Corden very slightly ahead. And all lanes seem like they're set to be pretty passive between these two teams. Like you can't really imagine too much fighting with these drafts coming out during the laning stage. Maybe once the support rotations do come in by the 6-minute mark into the mid lane, you could see something happen. Assuming that Chryslok or Corden both haven't hit level 6 by then. Which it looks like they are set to hit 6 before that mark anyway. DJ, bottom lane. Panda was trying to sneak up behind him. Does have the level 2, but hasn't decided whether he wants the Rocket Flare or the Cogs. So we'll hold out for now. Meanwhile, top side, Dubu's taking a fair bit here from Matthew. Eidolons are plentiful, though Matthew realizing